Hello and welcome to the Computer Game Show. My name's David Turner. I'm here with Sean Bell.
Yo.
I'm also here with Matt Murray.
Hiya.
And James is also here.
You alright?
You alright? How you doing, James?
Yeah, brilliant.
We'd like to start the show by thanking our Patreon producers this month. They are Aaron Patrick, the QuickBooks chap, Simon Nelson, Moomin Biscuit, Trans Rights and Human Rights, Dave Ernsberger, Colin Brown, Gazman, Rocketman76, Grey Dragon Claw, Smooth Monkey, Richard Sawyer, John Tempelli, Jackie Sniper, Sam Higton, Tom S, Stan, Philip with an F, Fred Fenge, John the Nelsmeister Nelson, and Ryan Cobain. What a crew that is. Patreon producers, the full Nels crew. Thank you so much for supporting the show at that level. It really does keep the boat afloat. Does that?
Yeah,
Does that
Sure,
one
just
work?
keep
Yeah,
the
that's
boat.
right,
That's what
yeah.
we say. Oh, whatever keeps your boat afloat.
Yeah,
What they say, isn't it?
whatever keeps your float afloat. Yeah, thank you so much for the support. And thanks to everyone that supports us over at patreon.com/TCGS. We're working on the bonus show. And I've got a few ideas about what I want to do this month for the video show. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Well,
Can you talk about them, or are they...
what was that, James?
I don't know. Just...
Oh, yeah. James trying to get involved. I won't talk about them on the show because they might be crap and you might go, we're absolutely not doing that, David, but there you go. Patreon.com/TCGS if you'd like to support the show. Looking forward to today's show, though. Looking forward to it. The news is great. There's plenty to talk about in the news. We've got a new Nintendo game to talk about. Looking forward to that.
I'm looking forward to talking about that. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Right. There are certain games that we absolutely keep quiet about until the show that we're recording. Some games we'll turn around and we'll have a little chat like while we're playing them and sort of say, where are you finding this bit? Where are you up to? Blah, blah, blah. This one, radio silence for Mario versus Donkey Kong, and three of us have been playing it, so that's going to be quite interesting.
That's interesting because I nearly messaged you about it. Then I thought, I'm going to wait for the show.
Same.
And then I just thought, I'm sure that you've been talking with Sean about it. You must have been.
No,
Yeah.
I haven't said a word to Sean, so this is going to be interesting. But let's get to the feedback from last week's show. Matt.
Yes, Paul K is messaged. Just wanted to say I'm David's age, and I also remember the Osborne puzzle books, including Agent Arthur, that came out in the 80s. Whenever there's a book
We get
fair
one of
at
these a
school-
week for like months.
Yeah. Here's a list of the ones that I remember. We just list them out at the start of every show.
Whenever there's a book fair at school, if there's a new one out, I was all over that shit, baby. Escape from Blood Castle was my favourite. Forgot all about them until a couple of years ago. Couldn't remember what they were called and eventually found them online for a little nostalgia trip. Oh, I should have read this bit first. Anyway, no need to read this out because it's boring. I thought David might like to hear.
I think maybe
that's
to make it more efficient, every person who sends us feedback or a question, can you just add at the end, I do or do not remember the Agent Arthur books?
Yeah, so now we need like shoe size, kitchen utensil, and now whether you do or do not remember these books.
Isn't there what underpants you, whether it's...
underpants, yeah.
Am I the only one out of us four that remembers these
I
books?
think so, yeah.
Oh,
I've got a vague memory of these. Like these, like, choose your own adventure.
That and fun facts, man. But we've
the fun facts.
Yeah,
the
fun facts.
Yeah.
The fun fact.
Yeah, but we mentioned the fun facts on the show before. The old the spy one and just the plain one with the squares. Right, I could get to the next.
Yeah, Scott's messaged, listen to the show and hearing about yellow paint. Just wanted to shout out Cyberpunk, where you can literally jump on or off almost anything. Enjoying the shows, keep up the good work. Capone Adams also messaged about us. Capone Adam, chopstick, he's written here. So that's Adam's utensil of choice.
Wait, hold on. What? Can we go back to why are we moving on to that?
Because there's another one about yellow paint.
Okay, but the cyberpunk, that's not true. You can literally jump on or off almost anything.
Yeah, it's really because when they added like the higher jump and the double jump, like they added like new traversal abilities, and I was like, yeah, but how useful is that going to be? Because the game wasn't built with these in mind. But it's really impressive, like the amount of other routes you can take and stuff around buildings and what have you.
Oh, okay. Maybe I haven't upgraded any of that stuff, but also I've fallen off loads of things and just died, or got to a place where I'm like, oh, I can't reach that. That's really annoying.
Was it raining when you were climbing?
It wasn't raining. That's a different
lucky.
game. That
Oh.
is a different. That was the worst thing about those games, wasn't it? Like that was the absolute worst thing
No,
about.
you just
those
got the
games.
frog suit thing, wasn't it? And then
Yeah,
I got the
okay,
frog suit
James.
in
You get that
Tears.
about 50 hours in,
Yeah,
don't
yeah,
you?
yeah.
And then
so
you have
it's
to
no
go into the
problem, you know.
menus and go equip the
Frog suit.
chest, equip
Yeah.
the legs,
Seconds.
equip the arms, equip the...
Oh
But
god!
you just make a recipe, innit?
Do you remember when I thought what?
Make a recipe that aids like stamina or whatever.
You just
yeah,
make
but
recipe
again,
in it.
Just make
Again,
recipe.
like for the first 20 hours of Breath of the Wild, you were standing next to a rainy cliff, just going, "I'll wait here for 5 minutes." Then
Yeah.
I remember trying to make a campfire thinking I could rest at it and then realising the rain put it out immediately. Which is great.
then,
I mean,
Like, yeah, of course it does. I'm an idiot. Like,
Then the lightning shows up and starts.
oh, well, that is
Yeah, that is the worst. And you got unequip like all your metal shit. Jesus.
greatest game ever made, though. So somehow
No,
it was
no,
the
no,
greatest game
I'm
ever
talking
made.
about Tears.
I can't. Oh, not as good. Not as good. But there you go. Next bit of feedback.
Yeah, Adam Capone, Adam Chopstick. Enjoyed the discussion about yellow paint in games used to help guide players around the environment. As a legendary environment artist myself, I can reveal a classic, more subtle method you may not be aware of, the use of diagonal lines. These can be anything from the placement of large rocks or large wooden planks to fallen pillars pointing towards the next objective. There are so many other subtle insider tricks I would like to reveal here that could result in a laser dot suddenly appearing on my forehead in the dead of night. A more common, well-known one is, of course, to add lighting to areas of interest. In fact, if you're ever not sure what to do in a first or third-person game, just start heading towards the well-lit areas. You're welcome.
I'll
tell you what.
I'm going to be playing a game now, and I'm going to see rocks just in the shape of arrows pointing to where I was going. I'm going to go, have I not noticed this?
Yeah, yeah,
I'll
like
tell you
Magic
what-
Eye.
I'll tell you what it could do with this is Alan Wake 2, because I keep getting lost in
Really?
that game, and it's
Oh,
really
mate.
irritating me. It's,
Oh,
yeah.
Game of the year.
Have you tried using a map, James?
Yeah, it's still annoying.
can't
It's
go
just,
into
you
well
know.
lit areas.
Good
There aren't
shout.
any. Haha.
Still game of the year.
Okay.
I'm beginning to question that at this point. It's
How far are you in?
Don't
that
let
noise?
Dave win, James.
How far are you in, James?
I've just got to the bit where you're first controlling Alan going into the subway.
Okay, cool. Yeah, yeah. I will admit, yeah, the map. I mean, I found if I was traversing like a forest or wood or whatever, there would be a lot of pausing, saying, "Is this the right one? Is this, you know?" But it's a forest. so
game of the year, James?
Not so far, but we'll see.
yeah, but it's early days.
Well,
early days.
I
Remains
haven't
got to
touched it
Alan.
since Christmas. I still think it's fantastic.
Should have been
Honestly,
Spider-Man 2. But
literally
Oh,
voting
come on,
game of the year
Spider-Man
because my
2.
friends liked it. Right, go on next.
Push button Joe. Much love to my favourite member of the pod, Matt, who always makes the best jokes and never fumbles the socials. Thank you, Joe. I broke my arm last year and didn't realise until I visited the doctor the next day. I too am a fucking idiot. Much respect for keeping up snowboarding. Question: video games are really good, aren't they? From Joe.
Do you want to
Push
give a
button
brief
Joe.
update about your arm?
Still fucking broken. I
When I believe you told us it was more broken than when you put the cast
Yeah,
on, and then I went to your social media and saw the jumps you were doing with the cast on. And
yeah.
thought, well, yeah.
So well, yeah, so
I'll
last
do it,
week
yeah.
where were we? I'm not sure, but basically, yeah. Since then, I went to hospital, A&E, and I had I had an X-ray, and they said, oh yeah, it's been displaced further. No idea how that could have happened, everyone. I mean, when I had the X-ray, and the woman was like, "What
Wanking.
happened?" And I was like, "Oh, I broke it on the first day of a snowboarding holiday." She's like, "Oh no, I bet you just like sitting in the restaurants after that, weren't you?" I was like, "Yeah,
Yeah, that's me.
mostly."
That's-
kind
no
of.
way, dude.
No,
Took a
cowabunga,
good
man.
book.
Yeah, I'm so
Um,
wild.
so,
that
yeah,
I went
I-
back out there.
Went to A&E. They're like, "Oh yeah, it's been displaced further," and I had to act shocked. And then they're like, "Okay, we need to get into an emergency operation on Sunday." And it was 7:30 in the morning on Sunday. Couldn't eat until like I had to stop eating like at 2 a.m. or whatever. Couldn't have any water after 6 a.m. Got up really early. Got a taxi into town, which cost me 20 odd quid. Got there, but in the ward, gown on, all the, blood pressure tests, swabs, everything. Sat in the ward for about 3.5 hours. Then they told me they couldn't do the operation because there was more serious trauma patients happening.
Actual
So
emergencies were taking
I mean,
place.
Real
cool
emergencies.
because
Not
everyone else
snowballed
they
as
probably need
that
more
took
help
the
than
piss.
me, but
Yeah.
3.5 hours just sat there and doing nothing. So hopefully I'm going to have the operation this week, but we will see.
So now, listeners, Matt is very much behind the movement to privatise the NHS.
Yeah.
So if that comes up, we try and avoid political issues here on TCGS, but Matt is very adamant that we should be.
Well, you just kept on saying,
privatising
wasn't it? It's the only way to fix it. He kept saying earlier. on.
The private sector can give us a better deal, then why not? That's what he said.
I heard the words "broken Britain" so many times today.
Yeah,
It's-
sick of it. Absolutely sick of it. Anyway, yeah, so it's more displaced, probably more broken, but I'm counting an op, so it doesn't matter at this point.
Okay.
Where were we?
I mean, you said that before, and it's gotten worse since. So I don't know. If...
Yeah. Yeah, I don't think it get well, it could get more worse, I guess. But anyway,
Yeah.
whatever.
Yeah, with my big snowboarding session that I've got planned for tomorrow.
Yeah. I do really want to go again, but I can't at the moment.
Where's that electric skateboard?
Oh, yeah, I was thinking about getting out the other day, actually, and I thought probably better not do.
Not right now.
No, not right now. I can't even go for a run or go to the gym, so I probably shouldn't be going on electric skateboard.
Yeah, I can't go to the gym either because it's a fit. Should we go next question?
Yes. Oods, now we are some way through the seriousness of Matt's injury. Have we considered the almighty possibility that it may be some elaborate excuse for a reason he hasn't played any games this week? Can someone give it a squidge to be sure? Well, no, because that'd be quite dangerous,
Yeah,
actually.
he
Yeah, we
barely
wouldn't want to
played
make it any worse, would we?
Yeah, he barely played any games last year and didn't.
No,
have any
yeah, but that's
excuses,
because of the broken wrist, David, last year.
Was that last year?
Yeah,
as
because it's
well?
like before, and I could have had a sentence about to happen, and so I didn't play any games because I think something bad's about to happen to the wrist. So that's why I haven't played any games for about 6 months because of the wrist.
Okay, carrying
That
acting like
happened.
that, you'll get a feeling you have something bad happen to your nose, eh?
What?
A punch in the nose.
Oh,
is the-
a bot me in the nose. Okay. I thought it was like a Pinocchio gag. Didn't really. Right.
Pop you in the nose.
Well, no, I thought you were implying my nose getting bigger, and it doesn't matter.
No,
Let's
no,
just move on.
that's all in your head, mate. You've made that up. Go on.
Paul Shin. Hi, lads. Just wanted to write in and say that James's all-town staff whatever meeting ramble at the start of that week's news and everyone else's reaction to it was one of the funniest things I've heard in ages. I laugh like Mr. Farley remembering that woman spinning around under the helicopter. Appreciate y'all, from Paul.
Right, okay, James. Should we go on to the next?
Well, no, what do you want me to say to that? It's like, okay.
Just like,
Thanks.
thank
But
Paul.
we-
It's clearly aimed at you. You know that email was aimed at you, right?
I didn't know if it was. I thought it was aimed at you or somebody or
yeah.
everyone. I don't know.
Thanks, Paul. Thanks for that. Yeah, I'm glad
Yes,
you
that
really
bit
liked
James
the thing
did
that
was
James said
good.
that was funny. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, I
well
mean,
done.
thank you for finding something that was very uncomfortable for me funny. That's good.
Was that too hard? Was that-
Honestly, he's done.
There was this, I'm not having a go at the guy who left this comment, but I don't know if you saw the stream I did last week looking through issues of Commodore format.
Oh my God.
Someone left a comment that was like, "Oh, more great content from the guys," and I was like, "So there's only me there. Why would?"
We're a team. We're
Yeah,
a
whatever
team.
you do,
All their own
we
spirit.
all do.
Yeah, you all sent me the magazines. You asked me to do it, and I was like, "Yeah, okay."
Yeah, I mean, like, good content
Fine.
raises all boats, or whatever they say. So, you know, we all.
How dare you? Were you thinking about going out alone? That's the feeling I'm getting now.
No,
You
I've seen
think about
where
doing-
that road ends.
They've thanked other people.
Oh, I don't think you were the problem with the side project. Go on, let's go to the next
Yeah,
bit.
that was listener in person called Extreme Matters messaged. Hey all, last week the lovely David and James. Sean there says the lovely David and also James. Okay, dropped a quick review of their experience with the recently released Foam Stars game, but it sounded like there were a few things that didn't quite make sense from what they played. Not a defender of the game, but I managed a couple more hours of it, and it certainly suffers from being quite convoluted from the off. The Smash the Star mode they played actually has an interesting win condition, which isn't best explained in the tips pages when selected to play for the first time. Rather than it being about which team gets the most eliminations before time runs out, the actual objective is that both teams start with 7 respawns each before the losing team gets designated a VIP who gets granted several buffs. It's then this person that once they're themselves eliminated, the team will lose. So essentially it's like 7 respawns, then a protect the VIP mode rolled into one. I thought that was neat as it certainly adds a layer to the standard objective so that defensive tactical play ensues. There was a rubber duck party mode which gets unlocked as like a moving capture point objective. Both teams have to fight and claim a small dance floor like stage, have to move it across the map to the opponent's spawn. The interesting catch for this mode is that if any player were to climb on top of the moving duck's head and dance, the capture point moves even quicker, with the caveat of said dancer not being able to move due to their dancing. Yeah, anyway, that's it really. It's really more fun when you know what's happening, and Square could do with onboarding players a bit better, especially as they put out new spins on PvP modes. I'll catch you in Helldivers too.
It sounds very complicated.
Well, it's not so much complicated. I mean, game modes can be complicated and still be good. You look at the Battlefield series, for example, but it's not. Yes, it could do with some better onboarding, but it's not just that. It's also the fact that when you're playing the game, it just looks like a fucking mess. Like it's so hard to see where the other teams are, what's going on, and who's winning, and all that sort of stuff. It's so hard to focus on what the fuck is happening in front of you. And I just like, and then it's the clunky shit where after every game it just kicks you back out to the lobby as well. It's like, nah, I'm sorry. In this day and age, you really need as smooth an experience and as clear a game as possible if you want people's attention for longer. Because, there are so many options for this type of game out there now. And, well, no, that's not true because this is more of a Splatoon style game. But when you are going to be compared against Splatoon, then, you've got to be fucking good.
I'll tell you what. I went back and played Splatoon again last week, and it's still great. It's still really good and really clear what is going on, and really focused and just really fun. Still,
yeah. I don't know, mate. I mean, Sean's played way more than I have, so Sean's got a better grip on it. And obviously, people look at these things in different ways. But fuck me, I hated my time with that game, and I don't know if this convinced me to go back to it. To be honest.
That's it for feedback. Go to tcgs.co/deartcgs, leave your feedback.
Well, now it's time for the news. And I know that some people are tired of this, but my word, have we got some news coming up. James, do you want to walk us through it?
Yeah, why not? So, last...
James, this is a great news week. Like, I can't see...
Well, it's all right, isn't it? It's just...
There probably were some layoffs, but it's been known this news. This is all exciting news.
Yes, it's really exciting. So we finally...
What, James? This is exciting.
It is. We finally got the end of the Xbox nonsense. Or
did we?
Happened.
Or was it the beginning?
Well, it's that's the thing, isn't it? It's just ridiculous. But so Phil Spencer and the crowd did their podcast thing, which was released on Thursday, and there's about 20.
Crowd.
Well, all the other hangers on. The whole thing.
What hangers on? They're people that worked up.
Matt Boo is the head of Xbox Game Studios.
Jokes aside, I sincerely don't know what you mean by that, James, because you explained these.
Phil Spencer and his entourage. They're all professionals.
Sarah
James.
Bond's the
Jesus
Xbox
Christ.
president.
That's
Hangers
true.
on.
Yeah. Okay. So just
Hangers on.
okay, just like the Xbox lot. They did the whole thing.
Name them.
Have you just forgotten their names you don't want to admit?
Name them.
It was,
and their
it was a Sarah Bond, Matt
they were.
Booty,
Yeah.
Phil Spencer, and the person who was running the podcast, presumably that I don't know
Who
who
isn't
that is.
listed in front of me in the article that I'm reading right now. Yeah.
But yeah, so they did their thing on the podcast format, which was a bit weird because it was 22 minutes long, and so what we found out from this was. They announced that there are four Xbox exclusive games are coming to PS5 and Nintendo Switch soon, but Phil wouldn't say what they were. And he said they wanted to keep that quiet, but then everybody knows that it's Hi-Fi Rush, Pentiment, Sea of Thieves, and Grounded. Those are the
we
ones.
don't know that.
We don't know that, but he didn't just leave it at that. He said they're two community-led games.
Yeah.
So that would lead you to believe that definitely Sea of Thieves.
Yeah.
Grounded is the only one that sort of sits alongside Sea of Thieves, but they said they're community-led games that have sort of peaked on the Xbox now.
Mm-hmm.
And as trend was going down, actually introducing a new audience might give that game a new lease of life, right? So that was his explanation for that. Then he said, and two smaller games that were never really intended to be exclusives, right? That was what he said. So Pentiment makes sense because that was being built before they got bought out.
Yeah.
And Hi-Fi Rush the same.
Yeah.
So it makes sense, but go on. Sorry. So those were the four games that we're assuming coming to PlayStation over the next year or so. That was the other thing he said, that all of the games that have been released have been out for over a year.
Yeah.
That was the other thing that he said.
And so he announced that those were the ones, well, not those games, but that these games were coming. But then he reiterated that actually, they're still going to be making Xboxes, and actually, there's going to be an even better one coming out, at some point in the future, which they're working on. And
this is the biggest generational leap, the largest technical leap with the next generation Xbox. Yeah.
Yeah, we'll say about that.
I find that hard to believe.
I mean, let's be honest, right? The Xbox hardware, there's no issues with it. It's the software.
the
Yeah, the hardware, not the problem.
It's the software,
Yeah.
The interesting thing that he said was we've got some hardware news in the holiday season.
Which a lot of people, again, are speculating may be handheld because...
That would be brilliant.
Yeah.
Not just a
Brilliant for
different
me.
coloured Xbox.
What a bloody prediction that would be.
No, hang on, you said it had to be made by someone else.
Yeah, I know, but still, it's a pretty good shout.
It's half
So
point
then-
up for grabs, isn't
Zero
it?
point.
We don't do half points, unfortunately.
Yeah, that's a zero then.
Sean,
I like half points.
I know you like the half points. Our listeners are fuming about it, though. So, sorry.
So then also they announced that Diablo 4 is coming to Game Pass on the 28th of March. There's a bit of a mistake with this because they said that all people with Game Pass will get this game, but they won't because it's if you're on Game Pass Core, you won't get it. It's only
Oh,
for
yeah,
people
it's
on
just
the-
the way they've
They did
branded
make
it
some
now.
weird mistakes about that because
Yeah.
you're going to come to the 34 million number, aren't you?
Yeah, I mean that's also the other thing which is a bit strange. I mean it's not strange at all because we found out like how many subscribers they've got to Game Pass, which was 34 million. And yeah, I mean I was quite surprised when I heard that number because to me that was much lower than I was expecting it to be. Like honestly. And then
not
I
that
thought it
I'm
was
expecting you to
higher than I
have this
thought it'd
figure
be.
to hand,
Yeah.
James. But where are console sales up to? Like, what percentage of actual consoles is that? Do we know?
I've no idea what that is.
Why
but
would you think that would be? I mean, before we reveal what actually happened, but why do you think that was low?
Okay, because
Well,
it was no, I didn't think it was because the reason I didn't think it was high it was because then it turned out that also included Game Pass Core
Yeah,
as well.
no. Like I get that,
which
but
was
I'm
the-
talking about before you found out that news because I'm sure the last time we reported on it, it was somewhere in the region of 12 to 15.
No, it was higher than that.
No, I think it might have been 25, but even
It was-
that,
yeah,
even
it
that
was-
is still like a decent
Really?
add
Yeah.
on. And I was like, I thought it was. That's a
Okay,
great number, I think. But
See,
All right.
the
In the
reason
end,
I
didn't
mean, I thought that they'd be. I genuinely thought that they had much higher numbers than that. Because the thing is even if you look at it as percentage of like series consoles that have been released, this is also people that own Xbox Ones as well that are also using these services.
PC users as
and
well.
also PC users. And if you think about the whole, like all the PC users, everyone who's got an Xbox, and then also Xbox Ones and stuff like that, I thought 34 million was quite low.
what did you think it might be then?
I thought they'd be at least up to about 50 by now, and that would be that's what they were aiming for.
I think maybe also the fact that the reports that subscription services have not been on that upward trajectory that they seem to be on when they started. Things certainly had slowed down. So I wasn't massively surprised until I heard this bit of news.
Which bit?
The bit where
Core.
they later clarified that actually that included core users,
yeah.
which is essentially people just on Xbox Live.
Oh,
Yeah, it was the people that were previously on Gold as well. And I mean,
Yeah.
they
That's
didn't
really
give...
quite low then, isn't it?
Yeah,
that
exactly, that's
makes
what-
it worse.
But then the thing was they didn't clarify what the percentage is, like what the difference is. Although Phil Spencer did say, "Oh, it's a smaller number," but that could mean anything. It could be like I don't know.
I'd find it hard to believe
Yeah,
that there's
16
more
and 18
people
million.
on Game Pass than there is with Xbox Live Gold. If we're talking about if we're talking about that in old terms, didn't you? Wouldn't you think Xbox Live Gold would be a higher
I thought it'd be
percentage?
much higher. Yeah, I thought that'd be loads more people on that because of the fact that you get like multiplayer and everything.
Yeah, it's
you
cheaper
know, it's,
for multiplayer. And you've essentially got to have it to play online. So
yeah.
yeah, this whole bit was a little bit strange and didn't look too good for Microsoft, did it?
Yeah, it's
I
just a
mean,
bit messy.
It's particularly like, as Sean said, the fact that this includes PC as well, and I'd have thought that would have been their big growth area as well. Would be getting people on that.
Right.
But yeah, I was surprised by that. So those were the main things that got announced in the 22 minutes. I mean,
So basically nothing. I mean, it was
Yeah.
sort of what we've been saying for the past 2 weeks. I think we were pretty adamant that it was going to be not that much of a big deal. Like, I mean, some of the rumors that were coming out beforehand. Did we mention that they specifically said not Indiana Jones or
yeah.
Starfield.
we mentioned
But
that, right?
then we also got because then also
We
later
haven't
on.
mentioned that tonight, no, David.
No, but then
Oh, we
did-
haven't mentioned that
No.
tonight. Right. Okay. So why did we say yes when I asked that question?
Well, no, before when we talked about this before, but that's what we were speculating was
Okay.
that they wouldn't do that.
Right. Okay. So yeah. So they officially announced that 2 games that definitely weren't coming in this sort of
Yet.
initiative.
Period.
Yeah.
Yeah. Is Indiana Jones and Starfield. I mean, rest easy, Sony fans. When it, I mean, Indiana Jones might be alright, but
It would have been
this
pretty
is what
weird to do
interests-
Starfield. It would like, yes, point not worth it for the memes alone. The replies would have been ridiculous. They would have announced it in a tweet and turned replies off. That's how bad it would have been.
I mean, this is what interests me because they mentioned it's these 4 games, some of them not necessarily intended to be exclusives to begin with, and you do think look at it from Bethesda's point of view, like especially with Xbox, trailing in 3rd place this generation. Are they looking at their sales figures, between Starfield and Skyrim? Obviously, there's like a decade between them. Starfield's a lot worse, if you ask me. But they must be looking at it and being like, well, why can't we fucking sell it on the more popular console, please? Like, it must be quite
yeah, I
frustrating
think-
to them
yeah.
in some ways, right?
I think there's that, and there's also waking up to the idea that games have a shelf life, right? And you can have an exclusive game, Nintendo aside, right? But you can have an exclusive game, but after a year after it's been out, sales fall off the cliff, like they just do. I'm sure The Last of Us still sells, but I guarantee it's not anywhere near what it was when it launched. So
I mean,
you just
yeah,
think,
like the
introduce it to a
first-party
new audience.
Nintendo
Why not? Yeah.
Well, I think that's a good example though, because the audience for Last of Us has probably blown up with the TV show. But
Yeah.
I do see what you mean.
Yeah, but I still don't think that the game sales will be as high as they were when it first launched and throughout its first year. I think you look at it and just go, well, okay, we've got this exclusive, but it's not selling anymore. So what do we do? Like, what's the point in having it exclusive?
It's also not the fact that it's not selling more; it's the fact that it's not driving more Game Pass subscribers. And
Well, there's that as well. And I think, don't get me wrong, like I look at it and go, oh yeah, it totally makes sense. They wouldn't be doing this if they were the market leader. They
No.
just wouldn't be
No
doing this.
way.
Wouldn't be happening.
They wouldn't be doing this if they were on 60 or 70 million Game Pass subscribers either,
No,
because
no.
they wouldn't need to. And
You're absolutely right. But I think it's a good thing, but I can't see Sony doing it back.
Well, this
Why
was
would
this was
they?
one this is one of the funny things because after this whole thing, Phil Spencer also talked with The Verge as well, like with Tom Warren about this, and
Yeah.
he said that he hoped that Nintendo and PlayStation games might one day come to Xbox. I mean, I think that's
Because this is what I find strange.
Yeah, I
Because
can't see that,
we've
man.
always said, got quite a lot of time for Phil Spencer. I don't think he's for the role he's in. I think a lot of people in that sort of level of seniority probably have to say a lot of things they don't necessarily mean. I
Yeah.
feel like Phil does mean most of the things he says, and I do believe him when he says the stuff about I don't think platform exclusivity helps anyone, but he would not be saying those things if he was on top.
exactly.
Right?
I mean,
don't think
that
he
was
would believe that if he was on top.
that was the weirdest comment that he made about the Helldivers thing, where he was like saying
Yeah.
that's not out, that's only out on PlayStation and PC. I don't know who that's helping, and it's like, well, it's obviously
Everyone
helping
else.
everybody
I
else
mean,
apart from
if
you.
it was an Xbox game, maybe the servers would work.
Yeah,
But,
potentially.
Oh, the server's been bad on that.
Yeah, still,
Yeah,
Well,
still
it's
fucked.
blown up,
yeah.
isn't it?
It's,
I mean,
it's,
I've
it's
seen
just
it
a popularity
everywhere.
issue. It is a
Yeah.
bit weird. Sorry, off on a tangent now, but yeah, it's a bit odd that as a PlayStation Studios game, it didn't seem to it seems to be just the devs handling it by themselves. It seems a
Right.
bit odd, but hey-ho.
Yeah.
I mean, my favourite thing that they said during the whole of that podcast was when he made that thing about how Game Pass would only be on Xbox, as if it was like, this is an exclusive thing for this platform and we're keeping it that way because it's important. And it's like, no, you'd love it if it was on any of these other platforms. They
Yeah,
just won't let
but-
you.
But
And
also,
so
it
it's-
needs to be on TVs. It needs to be on Fire Sticks or whatever. Like that's
Yeah,
surely the end game. But obviously they couldn't because they couldn't get their stick and the bundle level is low enough in price to make it viable. But
I just
But
love the
also
way
on the,
I love the way he tried to spin it as being like this is a choice we've made. You know,
Yeah,
and
yeah,
it's
yeah.
like it's not
Not
at
an
all.
economic reality.
Yeah,
I guess the only PlayStation game that's going to be on other consoles will be Destiny, because that's Well, I wonder if Marathon's multi-platform, isn't it, as well? So that
Yeah,
will be
yeah.
that'll be on Xbox as well.
But then, sorry.
Yeah, I kind of, after this news come out, I looked at it and just went, oh, right, it's the internet ran away with it, and a few journalists got too excited, and they look. I don't think anyone intentionally goes out there to lie. And oh, I've heard this. I think what happens is that you get a piece of information from somewhere, you get a piece of information from somewhere else, and you kind of you get the wrong end of the stick, right? Or you're drawing conclusions that
See,
maybe you shouldn't.
That's what I think, because that's what I think happened. Where I'm sure that there had probably been conversations inside Microsoft about releasing much more games like on other platforms and everything.
Of course, yeah.
But then that isn't what actually definitely was going to happen. It's just conversations, you know. They talk
I
about
mean,
this.
internally, I'm sure they talk about all sorts of wild shit.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, we found out that they were looking to, like, they were at least talking about buying Nintendo at one point. Do you know what I mean? Like, this stuff is, of course, they talk about that sort of stuff. But no, I don't think it is that. I think it's just you get drip fed information, and sometimes you get carried away, or you build up it. We've seen it with people we know that have drawn wrong conclusions, and you go, oh, okay, I could see how you got to that, but you took that extra step that some people didn't, and that's where you've come to the wrong conclusion. Also, I can kind of see why they left it so long now and then just put it out as a podcast, because
it's not that big a deal.
it's not that big a deal, and they're saying, well, like, what sort of a company would have a plan to do this sort of stuff only to change it because, like, the internet was running wild? Oh no, actually, no, this is what we're doing. Like, I think they had a plan to announce it probably this week, next week, up, whatever. They might have moved the announcement forward a little bit, but I don't think that. Like, when I looked at it, I was like, oh, they're in a panic, but they probably weren't, because they knew it wasn't that much of a
was it
big
like
deal.
2 weeks though after the rumors
After the
started?
first rumors started bubbling
So
up?
if it was happening very soon, next week, the week after, I think they would have been much more organised. Like, it just really felt like leaks happened and they were totally caught unawares and they had to react. But the whole 2 weeks thing
like
just
that
felt.
at all.
I think it did, because I hear what you're saying, David, but I still don't understand why you would let that run for so long, because all that did was it did damage, like, to Xbox. Like, those 2 weeks, whether it's true or not, whether it's all nonsense, whether it's all lies, whether it's all speculation, it still did damage. Like, it's, to people's
It shines
perception.
a light on them being in last place, doesn't
Yeah.
it?
Oh god,
exactly.
yeah, but
Absolutely,
yeah. I
I
don't
think
think that's
that's-
any secret. But what damage do you think it did?
I think it does damage because it did result in people talking very negatively about Xbox for 2 weeks, which I don't think is a great PR strategy. To have people talking about the fact that, as Sean said, you're in last place, maybe you're going to chuck the whole thing in. I just don't see how that can be
But now
possibly a
that the
positive thing.
podcast is out, what else have you heard along those lines?
What do you mean?
Well, the podcast is out now. No one gives a shit, because they just move on to the next thing.
Well, no,
It's like,
obviously,
no,
but
they're
you
not
still
sitting there going,
I know,
"Oh
but
no,
it's
Xbox still are definitely closing down."
I
Like,
know,
that's
put
an end to it.
people still are going to remember this, and they're still. Go on, David. Sean.
I think some people won't have heard this podcast, and some people go, "Yeah, it's an Xbox quitting the games console business." Like, there will definitely be potential people that just heard all the rumors, heard all the noise, and just like haven't seeked out the podcast or haven't.
I think that is a tiny percentage of people that would have heard the rumors but not heard the podcast or the outcome of that podcast. I can't. But if you're following Tom Warren on Twitter, then you probably know what the result of that podcast was. Do you know what I mean? I just
still
think
think it's damaging.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. I think you as a company, when you're looking at that, if rumors and stuff are circulating online, reacting to that is, I don't know. It just doesn't seem like the right thing.
No, but
to
it's
do.
but that's the thing. It's not this wasn't rumors that were just like fanboys coming up with ideas. This was tons of video game sites saying this stuff.
Yeah,
and whether
no,
they
that's
were
true.
right or
That's
wrong,
true.
it's still the fact that it was those people saying these things did lead it gave it more sort of credence than it would have been if it had just come from fanboys.
But here's that interesting. So you're saying that the podcast was a panicked response to these rumors, but you're also saying they should have said something sooner.
Yes, they should. They should have. They shouldn't have left it 2 weeks before they said anything.
Wouldn't
And
that be
if
even more panicked response then?
No, because the thing is, if this was such a minimal thing as it appears to have been, the fact that they're just we're doing 4 exclusive games in the future, maybe a couple of games, more games will come. That could have been like a couple of tweets from Phil Spencer. That didn't need to be like, oh look, it's all right. We've heard you. We've heard what's going on here. We're gonna have like we're gonna have a business update to explain to you, like what's going on here. They didn't even need to do that. It's very strange.
Yeah, they
like,
added
to
other
do that.
bits of news like a new
planned-
Xbox is
but
coming.
I
Like,
suppose
didn't need to know that. Like,
playing devil's advocate, what if they already plan to do that?
To plan to do what? What to do a business
Exactly
update?
that. To do the podcast where they talk about the future of Xbox like that.
But we never know that if they really
No,
were planning
I know
this or
we'd
not.
never know that. But what if they did plan to do that? Are you saying that they should have cancelled their plans and done something else?
They should have brought it forward. If they were so sure that this is what they were doing from the start, why not just do it sooner? Why wait 2 weeks? When all
yeah,
this
2 weeks is weird.
Why
It's
do
really
you,
odd.
Why do you guys think they waited 2 weeks? What do you think that was about then?
I don't know because there isn't. I don't see what's taken 2 weeks unless they were totally caught unawares, which possibly. Like, I mean, the other bits of news were new Xbox are coming. Didn't really need to be added, but I guess they did to make it a bit more positive. They had mentioned the 4 games, and they said about the Xbox kind of like Game Pass like numbers, but that stuff was just added on top. Really, yeah. The actual core news was these 4 games are coming. It didn't even unveil the games themselves. It just said 4 games are coming, and then we'll hear more in June. So
yeah, that was fucking annoying.
I don't know what's taken 2
They
weeks.
should
really.
have said what the games were. I think, but.
Oh yeah, I mean, I guess the speculation is that they haven't done that because it'll be Nintendo who will be revealing this stuff at a direct, and so maybe they're beholden.
Yeah, that could be that.
Well, not beholden, but and all the rumors were again that there was going to be a part of the
because
direct. very
Pentament's
soon.
probably coming to Switch rather than PS.
that was
Yeah,
what
and
that
Hi-Fi Rush
makes
as well.
sense, yeah.
So they're like, they may have agreements whereby, it will be available at this rumored partner
Yeah,
direct, and that's why they
good.
didn't
That's
say
a very
it.
good point. Yeah.
But I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't see it the same way as you. I don't see why they would have left it 2 weeks if they were panicking. Like that sort of seems counter. Like that doesn't make sense. That doesn't line up in my head. I think if they'd have come out with a bunch of tweets that day, then you could have said, "Oh, they were panicking." I don't know if a 2 week wait for a fucking podcast can be seen as them losing their heads. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, I can see where you're coming from with that, and it's just I don't know. I just think it's weird to leave something for that long. I just think it's really odd when you've got all that rampant speculation going on. I just can't see how it's good for them at all to do that. But
Yeah, all I feel like after these 2 weeks is just even more sadly negative about the Xbox brand and what they're doing. I mean, we've had years where they bought the studios and we've been like, what are they doing over there? Where are the games? Where are the games? But we all also know that games take a while to get made, and there's still kind of hangovers from COVID, etc., and new teams take a while to develop what they need to do. But even I'm like, it's just more messaging. It just feels poor, and yeah, we're the lowly Xbox team in third place.
Big deal. I genuinely don't. I don't see it as that much. It was like kind of a non-news story that people on the internet got carried away with.
I mean,
That's the way I see it.
I don't think that this is a non-story. Even those 4 games, I don't think is a non-story because of the follow-on from them. Like when The Verge again spoke with Phil Spencer and him saying he wouldn't rule out other games coming to other platforms in the future as well. This feels to me very much like they're dipping their toe in the water to see
Oh yeah,
how it goes.
100%. That's what they're doing. But
And
I mean, you'd be mad to go. We're not bringing any more out though.
Mm-hmm.
Like he would be insane to rule out bringing out
Yeah,
more
I mean,
games.
And again,
This is just
it
a
was
start,
fascinating seeing people sort of quoting that, but just altering it to there will be more games.
Mm-hmm.
And it's that's a very different statement.
Yeah, because he's just saying he wouldn't rule it out, which is
exactly.
completely.
Which, as
Yeah, I
Dave
think he
said,
did
of
say
course
they're
he
going to
wouldn't rule it
learn.
out, no,
So
yeah.
that's
No,
good,
I'm
yeah.
pretty sure they're going to bring out some more games on other. Once they've broken that seal, which again they were sort of reiterating on the podcast. We already do this with Minecraft, which
Yeah.
you're kind of like, well, yeah, but it was on everything when you bought it, so
Yeah.
I don't know about that.
But also, Minecraft, there isn't a PS5 version of Minecraft. It's only PS4.
Oh, really?
Yeah, they've never upgraded it for that.
I
For some
suppose it
reason.
doesn't make a huge amount of difference.
No,
but-
it doesn't make much difference. But
I mean, we should say as well, the no one's really talking about the headline for PS5 and Switch owners. Is mate, Pentiment fucking rules.
Yeah.
I absolutely
Yeah,
adore
yeah, yeah,
Pentiment. Obviously, I love Sea of Thieves. If you've never checked it out,
yeah, PlayStation owners are going to love Sea of Thieves.
Yeah,
It is a
yeah.
really good game. Grounded, I've heard nothing but good things about. I haven't
Grounded's
played
great.
it,
Yeah.
but I've heard it's really good. And Hi-Fi Rush, yeah, it wasn't really for me. I think it was a bit of a letdown. James really enjoyed it. So
One of my game of the year.
yeah, some people will really like that game. So yeah, ultimately this is a really good thing. There's no way Nintendo or Sony will pay that back. Like we are not
No.
seeing
Oh.
Death Stranding on the Xbox anytime.
So what?
Wait,
Death Stranding? What's
is
happening?
Death Stranding coming to it? No.
No.
No, it was on Game Pass PC for a bit. 'Cause that was when
That's
that's how
right.
I first played it.
Mhm.
But yeah, no.
Well, yeah, my brain just went weird then. I was like, was that did that come out on Xbox? I can't remember.
But
that.
then it's not first party or anything, is it? It's
No,
not
Not
it's
like,
is it? But I obviously they paid.
Because who was it who
a lot of
published the
money for it.
first one? It was one of those.
505 Games.
Yeah,
isn't it?
505. Who used to be like a budget label back in the day.
Yeah, I remember
So that was strange. But yeah.
I don't know. I thought I'm glad it's all over. It would be interesting to see what happens with these games when they finally come out on other systems, and I'd be interested to see where they go from here. I don't know where Xbox are going in the future, and this doesn't fill you with confidence as an Xbox owner. You know
No,
what I mean?
it doesn't.
I mean, I think we will definitely see loads more of these in the future, but I still think they're going to keep certain properties, as it were, just locked up only on like things like Halo, things like Forza, stuff like that. I don't think they'll ever release those on other platforms.
Yeah, I think you're right.
We're going to get to it later, like the PlayStation news, but like we need a strong Xbox in order to push PlayStation and push Nintendo. Like
Yeah.
this isn't helping anyone.
Nintendo don't give a fuck about
No,
what
they
anybody else
don't.
does.
And yeah, but it's less about maybe pushing them. But you know, like
Also, I'll say this: if a load of rumors come out about Nintendo, they wouldn't even respond. Like that's
They would
Well,
actually,
definitely know how
they
to,
would
they don't
actually
use the
cancel
internet.
announcements that they had planned.
yeah,
They've done it before.
yeah.
I'm not telling you anything then. Fuck off.
So I'm wondering if that's what's happened with this next story. Is because there was all the rumors that the Switch 2 or whatever it's going to be called was going to come out in September maybe this year, and now sources are saying it's going to launch in 2025 instead. And yeah, which
I
is...
still thought 24. I mean, I said it on the show a few times. 2024 feels a bit early for it. Like I mean, I know they've been winding down for a while, right? But the only thing I could see this happening, So the rumors are now, or sources are saying, and remember last week in the news section, we were reporting that it was definitely coming out this year. Right? We're now saying, or sources are saying that it's not, it's coming out next year. The only reason I can see them delaying this thing is because the software's not ready.
That's 100%. That's what I think.
Something's like games have slipped to next year, and they're going, we need a strong lineup, and they fucking do need a strong lineup.
Yeah.
Because when you think about it, Nintendo have got to turn around to all of their Switch owners and say, we want you to upgrade. Like that's not an easy thing to do, and if you've not got a strong lineup, then that's going to be really tough.
See, one of the reasons why the Switch was a pretty big hit right from the outset was because it had pretty much banger after banger, like over like a really short period of time.
Well, I don't know. It had, if I remember correctly, everyone was moaning because. Do you remember when they initially announced it? They had that list of games that were coming, and it was like there was like one a month, but one of them was like Tumbleseed and stuff like that. And you're going, "What the fuck is going on here?" I remember an image with like a few games on it, and just going, "Holy shit!" The next year on Switch looks a bit shit.
But then do you remember that's why it became such a hit with indie developers, because it meant discoverability was amazing. So
Yeah,
if you
really
released a good
easy to get
indie game
games on
one
there,
week,
yeah.
you were the only game on the fucking shop.
Yeah,
So everyone got to see
Yeah.
it, and a lot of developers did really well out of that.
But
then also
the
we
reason
got,
it was
like-
so massively successful is that it launched with Breath of the Wild.
Yeah, and then we got Mario Odyssey not very far afterwards, and then they started releasing stuff like, Mario Kart again, which most people hadn't played because nobody
Those
bought a Wii
games
U.
were so good,
you know.
man. Like that, the Mario Odyssey and Zelda Breath of the Wild. Wow. I mean, that's it. Look, don't get me wrong. I'm not saying that the launch of the Switch was bad by any means.
Snipper
but
clips. Hello.
you look back on it.
Snipper Clips was good, man.
It was good. When you go back and think about that game, you go, "Holy shit!" That year, the Switch launch was so exciting. It's so good. Good
We're
stuff.
going to get that in 2025.
Hopefully.
Yeah. Well, yeah, because I guess what's interesting is we will never know, but is this a delay or was this always the plan and just everything everyone was saying before was
Yeah, well,
bullshit?
we're never going to know, are we?
We'll
Yes.
never know.
Nintendo are going to say.
We'll
But
never know.
it's a shame because there's this. There's also like GTA 6 is apparently like next year now, as well, like certainly
That was
next year.
gonna be
But
next
like,
year.
Yeah, it was
but
always.
it'll be like in fiscal. They said it was going to be like in the second half of the year or something next year. So which is a bit.
Oh,
of a shame.
yeah, but I always said
It's always
2025.
2025.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I don't know.
I mean, next year's gonna be amazing.
This year, maybe not so much.
No, it's gonna be a short. As I said on the internet this week, our Gotti show is gonna be a short show this week.
Okay, next story is that also Sony have said that they're not going to launch any major games in existing franchises this year.
Oh,
Good.
fuck you!
Didn't want it. Next.
So
Didn't want a
what
bloody new game from them anyway.
What? Could you imagine if you were working for Sony and you were releasing a game on the PS5 this year? Just go, oh, for what?
Thought you loved us.
We thought we were major.
So what this means is this obviously means stuff like Spider-Man like level stuff or Horizon, stuff that's like
War.
existing
God of
like
War,
franchises. That there's not none of those this year, but there are
Uncharted.
claims that there may be a new Astro Bot game this year because Team Asobi is working on
Yeah,
something
boy.
that they're saying is going to be their biggest game so far.
Maybe a full
And-
3D platformer.
Yeah, that's what I think a lot of people are hoping
Mate,
it's
I'm
going to be.
fucking. I would handle you gloating on the prediction show next year, Matt, if we got a full-sized Astro Bot game.
That will be. We all want that.
We
But
do
yeah, I
all
mean,
want that because honestly, it's still a game. That Astro Bot's Playroom is still a game that I reset from the start and 100% through because it now once you get used to it and you know where everything is, it takes about 2 to 3 hours to do. And to just sit back and just play through it is just an absolute joy every time. I love it so much.
Not enough people played that. Or obviously, there's been loads of PS5 sold, but not enough people play that. Not enough people played the VR version either. And there's just such joy and creativity in both of those. So a full 3D platform version would be brilliant. But just on the major franchise thing, I guess it's not a huge surprise. I mean, yeah, we've had God of War Ragnarok last year. We've just had Last of Us Part 1 and Part 2
It was
remastered.
Ragnarok last year. It was the year before, wasn't it?
Oh, was it? Oh yeah. Well, yeah, year before, but yeah, I guess it just feels really recent. We've had, Ghost of Tsushima, which is our end of PS4's life cycle. We've had, we had
We've had
Gran
Really old
Turismo.
games. You just mentioned in old games, but we had
Well, no,
Parappa the Wrap Up, and we had Parappa the Wrap
no,
Up
but I
2.
mean, like in terms of kind of like expecting anything like soon, they've
We had-
hit all their major franchises, haven't they?
Yeah, we had like Horizon, didn't we, as well?
Yeah,
Like,
Horizon as
reasonably
well.
2 years ago.
Gran Turismo. Yeah, but they can't smash another one out in 2 years. Like that's like a 4-year project, surely. So it's
Actually,
no
what-
surprise really.
What did they have last year? There was Spider-Man
Gran
2, but what else?
Turismo, no.
Spider-Man 2.
Yep.
I don't
was it,
remember.
think.
It's terrifying how many games I assume were last year, but yeah, Gran Turismo was the year before, wasn't it?
Yeah. Hold on. I mean, I should Google it, shouldn't I? So,
But this isn't a surprise really, unless they reboot Uncharted, they do something else. But all the major ones, we've seen major revisions or new versions in the last 2 to 3 years. So it's a blow though. Again, like this wouldn't be the case if I think they had a legit competitor in Xbox, but they don't have to kind of kill themselves to get another major game out because.
Well, no, hold
And
on.
it's one of those
Hold on.
statements.
They'd
Go on.
also mentioned that they're expecting sales of their console to go down.
Yeah.
This year. That was also part of this story.
Yeah, well, yeah, they
So-
downgraded their sales expectations
So,
isn't it, from
yeah,
like 25 to 21.
They are
They're saying
competing against
it's-
Xbox, but they also want to sell as many of these machines as possible. So I don't know if this is, hey, they don't need to do it. No, they don't need to do it, but they fucking want to do it.
Yeah.
They don't want
I'm
a
sure they
year
want it,
without
yeah.
people talking about how great this new game is on their console.
See, according to the article, they said that they're expecting growth in third-party games and PlayStation Plus. Like that's where they're expecting that's
Of
going
course
to
they are,
start.
'cause
hoping
what
for.
else is out there?
Yes, I think there's really. I mean,
This
also,
to me just seems like kind of bad management in a way. Like they've just
Yeah.
poor planning. Like of all these games that come out, they're like, hang on, what's going to come out in the next year? Then, well, all our franchises have already been done.
do you reckon
No, like
Phil
you say,
Spencer's
do
been
you
giving
think
them
this
advice?
is-
Yeah, or
Like-
maybe Phil Harrison's got on board again.
Do you think this is just sort of failing to anticipate, as you say, the fact that games are taking longer to make now?
Well,
And
there's
that's just
that.
created this
Games
gap in the
taking
schedule,
longer to
hasn't it?
make. There's also the knock-on effect of the pandemic. That set a lot of
Cosy
plans
lips.
up in the air and all of that.
There was
sort of stuff.
also like their, how they were supposed to be like pivoting towards games as a service games, and then that maybe isn't happening now. And
Well, they've got
Well,
CSE.
Oh yeah, but
now,
they
so they're
announced
fine.
that last year or the year before, and like again, these things
but
take time.
I
Yeah.
don't know if any of that was true. I like. I don't know.
I think it was true, but Jim Ryan's gone now, and I think they've kind of scrapped a lot of those ideas. And
possibly
now it's
possibly
they're
fucking
left without
risky.
things.
the
Yeah.
right thing to do. I don't know what franchises have we not seen on the PS5 that we want to see from Sony?
Uncharted.
Uncharted.
Everybody's golf.
Do you know what I mean?
Sly Cooper.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah.
we've had a Ratchet and Clank. We've had Last of Us.
I'd
Jack
love to
and
see a Sly
Daxter.
Cooper with,
Yeah.
but like obviously from what Naughty Dog are now. Do you know what I mean? Like still like a cartoon, but like with the sort of the expertise that they have at Naughty Dog.
I'll tell you what I would like to see is more of the stuff which Nintendo have been doing this year, and it's the end of last year. No, like what I mean is like these like AA like games. Do you know what I mean? Like they're not. These aren't like the massive kind of things, but they're coming out on the regular, and they're just like a nice slow version. Like more stuff like Concrete Genie is what I'm saying. Like things like
man,
that.
I love shit like that. So,
Yeah.
that level game would do me for a bit. Just
Yeah,
something
just some stuff like
interesting.
that. Yeah, just interesting things. Like
Yeah.
would be pretty cool.
I think another big reason there's a gap is that maybe the cancellation of the Naughty Dog Last of Us multiplayer game. Maybe that might have been a
That's true.
tempo release, and then that
Yeah.
got scrapped.
There's
the whole
no
thing. We
way
really don't
that
have
was a 10-pole release.
Well, yeah, but
was it?
it's a Naughty Dog game. That is
yeah,
a big.
but it's multiplayer. No, based on it. Nah.
It's Last of Us, so huge IP, all the extra
I
excitement
thought
about
it
the
was
TV
wasn't it
series.
just a mode that was attached to the fucking Last of Us. I didn't think it was like this big.
That was
deal.
my understanding.
No, but it was clear again from the sources and the rumors that actually it's massively ramped up, and then they decided that wasn't their thing anymore.
It
but
ramped up so much that it was all cancelled.
it ramped
Should
off.
we just
yeah.
not bother? Actually?
ramped off.
Oh, it seems like loads of effort now, doesn't it? Should we just
Cannot be full.
in it?
Yeah, I don't know what's going to happen this year. I was thinking on my way home today. What's the big
Yeah.
release this year? Like, what's the big
Well,
release?
yeah, 'cause
Final
this is-
Fantasy VII Rebirth.
This is the thing, isn't
no,
it? 'Cause
Matt,
I think
that's not
Death
up
Stranding-
To the
at the start of
Is that this year?
at the
Next
start
year,
of
that's
most
next year.
years, you get that sense of like, oh, what's the big thing going to be? I think this is the first year in a while where the question is more like, there might not be a big thing.
Yeah.
this
Final
year.
Fantasy VII Rebirth.
Matt, you really like that, and I
Not-
get that.
Other
okay.
people do too.
But it's not the big thing, is it? It's not up there with. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying the game was good, but when everyone was talking about Starfield, that was the one that everyone was looking at to go, "Whoa, that is a huge release of the year." Turned out to not be that good. That's fine. I get that, but
It was still a big release.
Yeah,
like,
Final Fantasy VII Rebirth is going to be a huge release. It might not be everyone's cup of tea, and but Starfield different. Many years in development. Will they? Won't they? Delays, etc. Like that's why it's a big thing.
I really hope Indiana Jones is up there. Not just because I would like a good game to play, but also I think machine games deserve. Talking about the sort of the trajectory with like the way Wolfenstein went with Youngblood being shite and everything, but clearly not. Like clearly they are capable of better than that, and I would love to see that return to form from them. But I don't know.
I mean, all we're gonna get is we're probably gonna get. What was there rumors about a Ghost of Tsushima kind of remake or re-release?
Oh,
or...
Yeah.
stop it with the fucking remakes.
No,
and
but I think that's
re-releases.
what I mean. Maybe
Jesus.
I think that's probably what we're gonna get to like fill the gaps.
Great,
Surely a sequel's in the works.
Yeah,
lovely,
you'd imagine
great.
so.
Oh,
Yeah, but
another
in the
remake.
meantime, Sean, why not get the PS5
Thing
version
is,
of the
that
PS4
doesn't
game out?
need a remake or a remaster. Like, that game's stunning. Like, the
Yeah.
fact
Yeah,
that
but
ran
nor
on a
did, nor
PS4
did
is incredible.
Last of Us Part 2. They fucking did it. Do you know what I
Yeah,
mean?
that's different. I think again the new
It's
audience.
not different. It's
I
exactly
think the
the
new
same.
audience TV show they want to get both the games on the latest hardware.
Hey,
That makes
Do you really think that the TV show made people get into third-person action?
I think there's
stealth
greater kind
games?
of
I don't think it did
eyeballs on
that.
that series, and yeah, I
Yeah,
think like get
eyeballs.
both the games up to scratch on PS5. That makes sense.
I don't know. I can't imagine any of the people at my work who was saying how good that TV show was, picking up a PS5 and a Last of Us. How do you make the camera work? Don't worry
I
about
think
it.
some people will, but
What you
anyway.
need to do is
that
to
makes
have
sense.
played about 10 years worth of similar games, and then you'll be able to
The
speak.
first question would be like, the PS5 costs how much? It's like, why am I paying this?
Right, okay. What's the next story?
So also, PlayStation chairman Hiroki. This is terrible. I'm messing this up. Hiroki Tokoki. Is that right? Tokoki? I can't.
I've
can't
you
been
tell me,
asked
mate.
that before, so Go on.
Yeah. So he has now said that they're going to be more aggressive about bringing first-party games to PC, and
Good. Thank
it's. I mean, it's unclear whether this means we don't know if this means whether means they're going to be releasing stuff like sooner than the often like year or so it takes before, but that seems to be where they think there could be growth. This makes a lot of sense because the thing is I'm sure that here they're going also for like gamers in places like like China and India and places like that are mostly playing on PC. It makes complete sense to do this because those regions are never going to be captured by consoles. Like it's just not going to happen. So why not do it through this?
But and also,
and if it allows you to mop up people like me who would love to play Spider-Man 2, but that alone is not, doesn't justify the cost of a PS5. That's money on the table, isn't it?
And also, they've done that with Helldivers, and look how popular it is. So that's also
Too
like
popular.
Can I ask? Right, this is a stupid question.
Okay, PC.
Question.
Okay, before it's personal computer. Dave.
And I'm not playing dumb to try and like be being serious. What's the difference between an Xbox and a PC?
I don't think any of us are equipped to answer
One doesn't
that,
require driver
Right.
updates.
I mean, my understanding is that architecture-wise, not a huge amount, and that's why. And same with the PS5, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Okay.
Oh, yeah, I mean, both of them
So my
AMD
next
chipsets.
point-
So
My next point. What if Xbox just rebranded themselves as this is the PC under your thing, and now you can play your PlayStation games on it? Like, what's stopping them doing that? Obviously, there's something stopping them doing that. But what is it?
so
Well,
if
no,
they put a
because-
PlayStation emulator.
But then Microsoft are
in.
never going to be able to, or Xbox are never going to be able to release a console that like has Steam on it, right? You'd have to go out of your way to install. Like, even
Because
if
also-
it was technically a PC, you'd
Right.
have to install that separately, and then you're into that Steam Deck territory of like, oh yeah, it's amazing if you go into Linux and start.
Because
And
Dreamcast was a
landline.
PC. Dreamcast had Windows CE. That was a PC basically, wasn't it?
It didn't. That's a whole other thing.
Oh, please! Every time you bring that up, James leaves it. You brought this up a few times on
I know
the show, Matt,
because
and
it's,
James
it's
loses his
always
shit.
I know.
it's
every
always a
single time.
misunderstanding, and it's really irritating.
It was a PC, James. Get over it.
It's basically running Windows.
Windows CE.
Yeah.
Okay, where were we?
Okay, I don't know. Go on.
Anyway, that's happening. So
Yeah, good.
so this
Good. Yeah, I mean, I think it makes sense. Again, look at
So-
Helldivers. They've learned.
final story is that the Disco Elysium standalone expansion has apparently been cancelled, and a quarter of the staff are facing redundancy. So that's weird, isn't it? The headline says a quarter of the staff, and then in the text it says a third of staff members are reportedly going to be let go.
Whoa.
Why
Sort
have,
of
why have we
mindset
ended on a depressing story? Should have started with this.
It is, it's a shame. But anyway, so apparently there was a video call where company bosses said that they wanted to continue nurturing intellectual growth, fostering a strong sense of community with our team. And then apparently then the staff received a letter telling them that they would have a score assigned to them based on objectively applied selection criteria, and the lowest scoring people are going to go on the chopping block. Was the thing.
Jesus.
What that
And
said
like-
that in the official email.
Apparently so. I mean, this is from Eurogamer.
Holy
You can have a look.
shit.
That's the quote. Although
That's awful.
that's
Throwing
I'm not.
Eurogamer under the bus.
No, I'm
mean-
not saying.
I mean, the
No,
points
wait, wait.
thing
That-
happens in
that-
redundancy, right? That is true. That happens. I know that for a fact.
Yeah, you've
but-
got,
but-
you've got to
hang on,
sort
hang on.
somehow.
We need to clarify this. This is what somebody said was in this, so we don't
Right.
know
Okay.
for certain
So,
that that's
right.
what
Okay.
it
So,
is.
yeah. Be very clear about that. That
It's allegedly this is what was said about that was going to happen.
Are they Were they paraphrasing or were they quoting?
I think they were paraphrasing, so I'm not quoting
Okay,
them
let's
here.
all
So
calm down.
This is allegedly. This was said.
You can't just say that
Allegedly
to get you out of trouble.
paraphrasing.
Do you see what happened there, Sean? James just went,
Yeah.
right, I'm panicking because I may have made a huge mistake, so I'm just going to chuck the word allegedly in. And he sat back with a big grin on his face. And now he's
you okay,
licking his lips.
I mean, this is
hell.
because I've talked before. Obviously, we've known about the original founders of the studio being kicked out under debatable circumstances. The new owners claim it's because they were creating a toxic workplace. However, that clearly seems to have continued under them. Based on some of the comments around this, and I was saying at the time that it's not helpful to be like, oh, well, if the original creators have gone, then that's it, because obviously they will have built a team within that studio who fucking adored that first game, or or there's still some people who did work on the first game and wanted to create something just as beautiful and clever and brilliant. But looking at this now really feels like that studio is just a shell of
I mean, this
what
is
it once
I
was.
like
right? Like
this
And
look.
it's so sad.
It's awful that people lost their jobs. It's so shit that a game that we love so much, a sequel to it is, or an expansion to it, is not going to see the light of day, reportedly. But also, it kind of feels like after all the news about this studio since that game was released, it kind of makes you think, oh, maybe I didn't actually want to see what was going to come out from that, because it just feels like whatever was going on there didn't seem right. There was too many problems and some really nasty mudslinging at one point. It sucks, man. Disco Elysium was brilliant, and I can't recommend it enough. But the news that's come out since has just sucked.
I mean, I still think we may still see a sequel. Someone may buy the IP, but it'll be my name only. None of the the original creators.
I mean, those original developers who were forced out would be mad to not, band together under a new name and do something else. I mean, unless their taste for making video games is completely gone now, which I wouldn't blame them for. But
no, you're right. Yeah, someone might buy Disco Elysium, and I think there are stories to be told in that universe for sure. And look, there are problems with Disco Elysium. There's we're not going to lie and say it's a perfect game and it was beautifully written from start to finish. There is stuff that can be done that actually, but when you get invested in its world, and you see the potential of characters, it really reminded me of Discworld, like to the point where, like, not in tone, obviously, but when you sort of like start looking into the world of Discworld and you go, oh, it feels like so much can happen in this fucking stupid place.
Yeah, like there are dozens of books, but you only need to read one to get a wider sense of it.
Exactly. And this is because Disco Elysium, when you think about it, it's set in a tiny little town.
One bit of a
like
city,
the whole thing is set in this
tiny
tiny little place, but it feels like a whole world is out there, and like that's what's incredible about that game, really. Shame all this news. It's awful.
It was one thing I found interesting was the reference. So this was Argo Tulik, who's spoken to Eurogamer and has been tweeting about this. So he's one of those original developers, although I think he stayed on until more recently. And he mentions that like everything in the studio changed with the People Make Games documentary, which I thought was really interesting because I must admit I never got around to watching the whole thing because it's about 2.5 hours long. Sorry, Chris. But
so how many hours of the one about Double Fine did you watch?
But you watch these things thinking like, oh well, this is like everyone who works there already knows this,
right?
Surely, but clearly there was stuff in there that was educational to people actually inside the studio as well, because apparently, that really changed the vibe in the studio.
So when Chris does come on in another 200 episodes or whatever it is, we can just have a go at him for being the reason that we're not playing anymore.
Well, this is the thing, because people have been as well. People
there was
a load of abuse.
Okay.
So that was a joke. To clarify.
Do you want to apologise now, Dave?
Yeah, I will like to apologise, Chris. You're good.
Argo basically said sorry, can people stop having to go at People Make Games? I wasn't being critical of them, like
no, hell no.
And crucially said, can people not reference it on a podcast and then make a joke of it? And,
while we're talking about all this stuff, did anyone listen to Backpage Pod this week?
Oh no, I haven't yet. No,
a few revelations.
I gather we got a shout out.
Yeah, a few revelations in it. Matthew Castle said that he subscribes to our Patreon, which
we knew that.
Did we?
Yeah,
I never go into
on the list.
Yeah, I never go. I never go into. I haven't got access to that. But one little nugget of information that was accidentally dropped is that find out there's a couple of little grasses that get in contact with them and go, oh, they said this about you. Have you noticed that?
For fuck's sake.
Yeah, they mentioned that. I bet they're on. I know they're listening now, and I bet they're part of their Discord. I bet they're on their Discord. We're gonna have
to Maria Mendieta.
Quick, get this typed up.
Well, to be fair,
trusted.
To be fair, Sam turned around and said straight away, "Oh no, absolutely, they're definitely joking about that. Like they're definitely not being serious about that." And you're absolutely right. But also, I know you little grasses are going to, oh, Sam, Matthew, did you hear what those naughty boys said about you? You're a little grass. Have that on your conscience. We're on to you. We're gonna get a few spies in their Discord. I think we're gonna sprinkle some TCGS.
We're gonna do some Wagger for Christie stuff.
We're gonna get our own grasses. What about that?
Yeah.
Back page pod. Right. Okay. Is that it for the news?
That is it. Yeah.
What you been playing then? We better talk about the big release that everyone's been talking about. Or we've all been playing apart from Matt, who doesn't play video games anymore.
No, I'm out of the game.
Mario vs Donkey Kong came out on the Switch this week.
There's no subtitle, is there? It is just Mario versus Donkey Kong.
Well,
right.
Here's one thing that I didn't know, and you guys are going to go, oh, I can't believe you didn't know this. I didn't know this was just a straight-up remake of a Game Boy Advance game.
Yeah.
I didn't think this was...
I mean, there's extra stuff, but I haven't reached it yet.
How far in are you?
So I'm on World 4.
James?
World 7.
Oh, World 5. How many worlds are there?
8. I'm quite disappointed, honestly.
Really?
Yes.
Why is that?
Well, it's too short and it's too easy.
Is there definitely only 8 though?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
There's 8 worlds, and one of them, like I think World 8 is the new edition. Like there's
Okay.
There's
the others
2 new
was up
worlds, apparently.
there. Oh, so maybe it's World 7 and 8 are the new ones. And I mean, I'm enjoying it. Like it's I've had fun playing through what I have, but it's not for me. I don't like maybe because I'm hoping this is going to get harder for World 8, but it's not complex enough. I don't think. That's the problem I've got with it. It's really quite simple, like most of it. And when I think of like stuff like March of the Minis, which was, I would say like quite a bit more complicated than this one, I feel a bit disappointed. I was looking up on like like how long to beat, like how long is this? It's like 5 hours long, like 5 or 6 hours, and
That's quite shocking.
that feels
isn't it?
very short. Like I mean, I'm not surprised this was because this was a budget release. Yeah, this was like cheaper.
40 quid, I think, on the eShop, but most of us got it for around 35 quid, right?
Yeah. But it's I don't know. I mean, as I said, I've still enjoyed it. I like the vibe of the whole thing, and I love like Mario's move set still. It's just that I wish that there were more complicated puzzles that were going on here.
We should contextualize this.
Yeah, what is this game?
Because the GBA one was essentially a follow-on from Donkey Kong 94 on the original Game Boy, which you
was
loaded
incredible.
it up and you were like, oh, it's Donkey Kong. Why would I play this in 2024? But basically, you play 3 levels of Donkey Kong, and then it becomes this whole other game, which is, it's interesting because in terms of the move set, it's quite involved in that it's got handstands and different jumps and stuff, and and all different moves that Mario can do. But it's quite slow. It's quite deliberate. The movement in it. It's more puzzle based. There's each level is essentially like a puzzle room where you're hitting switches and activating, deactivating certain blocks, and you've got to get a key to an exit, or you've just got to reach one of these, these little mini Mario things. And then there's like little boss fights, which again are sort of more puzzles than sort of action set pieces. I really liked what I played of Donkey Kong 94, really liked what I played of the GBA one, but I hadn't played much of it, so I was really excited for this to come out. To be like, well, this is better. I know I enjoy the concept, so it's just going to be that. But I was under the impression there was quite a lot more stuff here than in the GBA one. So if there isn't, part of me is like, well, probably could have just played the GBA one then.
Yeah.
I'm enjoying it so far, but yeah, I'm kind of blasting through it. If anything, I'm sort of holding off playing it because I don't want it to run out.
So that's the thing, because like each world that I've done, you can get through it pretty quickly. And the thing that I feel a bit disappointed about with the puzzles is they're very straightforward. Like most of the stuff, like even up to like World 7, it's pretty straightforward. You could work out what to do. I haven't come across a single moment yet where I've been like, oh, that's cool.
Do you want to explain the objectives quick?
Okay, so usually what you have to do in the main, they split each of the worlds into like 8 levels. So you got 6 like sort of regular levels where you have to flick switches, and you have to like sort of climb across platforms to then pick up like
Yeah, you either carry a key to a door or pick
Yeah.
up a Mario toy, right?
Yeah, and then
but
also you can
there's
find
some
like
objects. Yes, there's some. What do you call it? What they
there's
call?
like presents as well that you
Yeah,
that you have
presents
to like
where-
pick up.
Yeah, which you don't have to do, but
No,
but
but,
yeah, you're judged on.
And they're never difficult, are they?
No.
You go out of your way a little bit for them, but they're never like, oh shit, how do I do this?
Yeah.
It's
Right.
like, yeah, it's usually
And
pretty
then-
straightforward.
And then once you've done those 6, it then flicks to like this thing with the minis section, which is whereby the all the like tiny model ones that you found like throughout the level, they sort of follow you through the level, and you're supposed to try and get them to pick up like these like icons, which so it spells toy, and then also get them to avoid obstacles, and then get them back to this chest, and then you've completed the level, and then finally you then have like a boss fight, which is against Donkey Kong, which is usually again the typical Donkey Kong thing, where it's like platforms where you to pick up stuff and chuck it in, try and avoid incoming items and stuff, and that's it really. I mean, it's quite, as Sean said, it's very straightforward like this, but the move sets, as you said, are also quite. Sorry, that's a cup that why do I do this? I
Fucking
get
hell.
I get excited as I'm talking, and then I hit things with my hands, and it's really
You're telling
annoying.
me.
It sounds quite.
It's
Bad.
it happens
Go on.
sometimes, but I spilled coffee all over my MacBook like
Doesn't matter.
not that long ago, which was really annoying. Because I did that, I got animated in a meeting. Anyway, that doesn't matter.
Never seen you animated in the fucking 25 years I've known you. Never seen you animated once.
I was quite cross, but anyway, it's it's just
That must be hilarious. Like James getting angry, then coffee on his laptop.
Yeah, yeah.
They must be pissing themselves.
It can't be funnier than the time that Ian Lee raided his stream and he rolled his chair over his own foot. That was
That was
probably
good as well,
my favourite James Bond moment. I'll tell you why I think it's fucking dreadful. Like I think
Really?
it is embarrassingly bad. I think this is a quick cash grab from Nintendo. I think I think it's shit. Like I find it, but like the characters that are not staple Mario characters are embarrassing. Like I know that it's based on the Game Boy Advance game, but that little rhino thing looks like something out of like I don't know, like a Paw Patrol game.
It's weird because the
What
GBA...
is that bird doing shitting eggs on you? How is that enjoyable? What is the point in that at all?
No,
What's the
it's
point
weird
in that
because
bird?
the GBA one looks bad as well.
Yeah.
Like for a GBA game, it's like they tried to do the Donkey Kong Country thing of like, oh, it's 3D sprites, but then flattened into 2D, and it just looks bad. And this is...
doesn't look. I mean, the characters, the art style looks terrible. As I said, there's stuff where you get to the end of the level and go, "What was that about?" So with level design, especially with very focused puzzle levels like this, because they're tiny, and you think every platform must have a reason for being there. There must be a reason. There are times where you collect all the presents and get to the end and go, I don't even need to go to that part of the screen. What is that even doing there for?
I know what you mean. Yeah.
There are enemies that you're going, what is that? That's not a challenge or anything.
I know they're not even threatening you; they're just there.
No,
and
they're not
it's just-
threatening you. But there's also like situations where you go, oh, right. So what I think it needs me to do, it needs me to pick this one up, throw it against that one so I could jump on that platform to pick this one up, throw it on the spike so I can jump on that to get to the other. Nope. No, you don't need to do any of that. You could just do like a double jump over the gap and then you're done. And you go, what the fuck is this then? What is this?
And I think it's weird because like even when the enemies are like a legitimate threat, there's no fun in that.
No.
Do you know what I mean? It's like the amount of times I've died because I've tried to jump on an enemy and I've just clipped it the wrong
Yep,
way.
all
and
the
it's like
time.
instant death.
All the time.
And it's like, oh, for goodness sake.
Or,
Like,
or the as I said, the bird. So there's a bird in it that spawns and flies along the top, back and forth. And when it crosses your path, it shits an egg down. And if that egg touches you, you're dead. And it's like, right, okay, but that's just annoying. That's not adding any addition. Like, there's nothing interesting about that. That's just
No, but they're
fucking
following.
annoying.
I'm not defending this. I'm
Yeah, you
just
are.
saying.
Here we go.
I'm not defending it. I'm just saying this is because they're emulating the style of the original Donkey Kong game.
Sure.
That's what
If
they're trying to do.
if this had Sonic in the place of Mario, you'd be fucking ripping into it right now. It's literally just because it's Mario. It's dog shit. This game.
It's not.
crap.
I really
I'd
wouldn't.
say-
I wouldn't go that.
I wouldn't go that
at all.
far either.
I'm
I
just
just-
I
enjoying
would,
it, but I
Because I
understand
get to the end of
certainly
every level and I feel fucking empty inside, and I look at it and go, I don't even understand what you're trying to get. Like, I don't. Do you know what's really? Hey guys, everyone sit down. I've got an idea. Do you know what'd be really exciting for just like Mario, but he walks really slowly and sometimes he drops
but
like
that's
really
part
hard
of
onto
the-
So
that's
stuff.
that
part of the-
stuff in and of
yeah.
itself, I don't have a problem with. What I do
No.
have a problem with is that it literally just being the GBA game with a half an hour's extra content on it. Like,
I have a problem with the fact that it's too simplistic and
Yeah.
and not very satisfying because of that.
yeah,
It's,
like, I
Exactly.
don't mind the format and the style of it in terms
Oh,
of
the format and the
gameplay,
style of it,
but,
like I
yeah,
get, but
yeah.
do something interesting with it. And
Yeah.
if the argument is, but it's just doing the Game Boy Advance game. It's just the remix for like they've just bought the Game Boy. Well, the Game Boy Advance game was shit then, because even back then games were better. Like this, there's nothing interesting. Like honestly, I'm on World 5 and I'm thinking, there's nothing that's made me smile in this. I've not enjoyed a single second of it, and I'm not turning around and saying, "Look, this is the worst game I've ever played." Like, I'm not sort of like overdoing this. I'm just saying, I'm looking at this going, "This is the most pointless thing that I have played for a long time," and I think about what games that I think were average from Nintendo that you can go, okay, all right, this is pretty good. And the one that springs to mind is Captain Toad's Treasure Tracker, right? And you go, that's not an A-list AAA game. That's something that they put out there, and it's generally thought as being quite good, a fun little thing. And it just makes me look at that and go, I want to sell this and get that, because I never played that all the way through. I really like the little games. Even if these were like, you know how Captain Toad, that game come out because they were little modes, like they were mini games within a better game, right? If this was a mini game in a better game, you go, oh, fucking not one of these ones again. Who gives a shit? No, that's too much, right? Because you wouldn't say that because they're piss easy. So
That's the problem.
But you
That's
would
the
get to the
problem.
end of it and go, why have they put these in? Like, what is the point in any
Because
of this?
you see, if the puzzles, if like were more complex, in like this would make this so much better and so much more interesting. And it's just the fact that it's so easy to blast through that I don't feel any challenge from playing this at all, and so it's just not very satisfying. That's the problem. But I wouldn't say it's not total shit. It's just disappointing to me.
Yeah.
Well, I would say it's total shit. Harry, Charlie's got to World 4 without my help. He's
I was going to say
5.
Isaac's blasting through it. He's on World 3 so far, but he's literally had about 90 minutes on it, and he's
It's and I just look at this and go, wow, this is without a doubt in my head a fucking massive cash grab from Nintendo. This is them saying we've got a gap in our schedule. Let's stick something out with Mario's face on it. I bet it didn't take long to develop. I bet, like, maybe I'm speaking out of turn here, but you know that it's selling over 1 million. Do you know what I mean? Like, so because it's got his fucking face on it.
Do you know what? I just had a look to see what has been added to this, from the GBA version, and I was hoping that I was going to come to those levels, but I just realised I've already done them because they put them earlier on. Like the two.
Are you kidding me?
Yeah, the two areas they've added are Merry Miniland, which is about
that's
I think.
That's what I'm on now. Yeah, that's World 4.
And Slippery Summit, which is like I think that's
Holy shit.
World 6. I think I
Wow.
can't remember now. And so I was hoping they'd be more difficult, but obviously not. Maybe
That
it's a
is
shame.
quite shocking.
It's not good. It's not good. Avoid it, in my opinion. Like, if I was reviewing it,
But
it would be getting a
but-
5, maybe. You know
But
what I
even
mean?
if you do think it's good, you should feel somewhat cheated that this is mostly just a remake of a GBA game with very little added. I think
But
it's,
see, but Donkey Kong like 94, I swear that had a lot more to it than this. Like
yeah,
there
that
was,
got hard pretty quickly.
yeah, that's what I'm saying. But I don't know.
It's just sucks when you're in this era of Nintendo, doesn't it? Because where clearly their A teams are working on the next thing, and I wouldn't mind so much if they'd. Well, obviously it's a remake of a GBA game, but I wouldn't have minded so much if this wasn't a Mario game. You know what I mean? Like but the fact that that they just looked at this in a board meeting and went, "Fucking, let's get something Mario out," and that's exactly what they've done because the adverts are all over kids' telly. It's you know what I mean? And Harry saw it and he was like, "Oh, new Mario game, yes." And honestly, even he's looking at it going, I don't get this. It's got some of the worst music I've ever heard in a Nintendo game. The
Music's
fucking
all right.
No, I
Oh,
like
it's
some
yeah, I
of
like
some of
the
the
music.
some of the
Full.
jazz stuff is great.
give
Yeah,
it,
yeah,
leave off. It is dreadful.
It's,
It's
not.
not.
It's
That-
really good.
That deaf music is
I
one of
as I
the
said, never heard it, so I wouldn't know.
Well,
But the
you say
jazz
that.
stuff's
You said
good.
that joke every time deaf music comes up.
I've
It's
said
really
that
dog
joke
on that.
twice,
good.
and it's a good
Still
joke.
good.
But right, okay. So you, I mean, I need to find it. I need to play this fucking deaf music because I couldn't believe how bad it was. Like this is from a Nintendo game that you.
Actually, I've not noticed it. I
No.
have died.
Right,
I'll
listen.
admit to that. But...
This bit. It just makes you go. It makes you go. Wow, I'm done. I'm done. And I'm not
See,
playing this
I
shit
liked
anymore.
later on. I like
Da-da-da-da.
later on in the game. They got like these like nice little like jazz pieces that
I was
sound
going to
pretty
say,
good.
yeah.
You're mad. If this was anyone, honestly, I don't want to accuse you because you're my friends, and I know that you know you're critics of video games. I don't know if you'd be saying this if this was by anyone else. What about that? I don't know. I'm just
You can say it if
I'm
you
asking
want.
the
You can say the
question.
point, but I'm just saying.
I'm just
it's-
asking the question.
We agree with you, David, that this game has serious like downsides and flaws, but you can't say it's total shit because it's not
I
true.
think it. Yeah, no, actually, I will. I'll say it's total shit. I do. I look at it and go,
Will
fuck this game.
Politely
And
disagree.
fuck Nintendo for bringing like honestly, genuine. What's next? Still Diver remake. That's what
Yeah.
you get, and
Bring it
you will
on.
lap it up, and you'll be on this fucking podcast going, actually, it's all right. Actually, yeah, it's the ship goes down a bit.
Tell you what, Asher saw it on the screen and he was like, "Oh, it's a new Mario game." I was like, "Yeah, it's." And he just
Sort
looked at it, and I was like, "Do you want to play it?" And he was like, "Nah." And so he watched me play
Come
it
on,
for a
Asher.
bit and then walked off.
I love. Yeah, I'd say that I've not finished Wonder yet. I need to go back to that, but this is not it. This is not the one, man. This is yeah, this is poor. This is poor. I did actually last week go back and play a bit of 3D World again.
Oh, yeah.
And I was like, oh my god, what? Like that's what I'm talking about. I could do with another 3D World game.
Hmm.
That would be good, right?
Yeah. I'd be up for that.
Let's have one of them instead of this shit.
Speaking
I'm
of
surprised we
Nintendo-
never got like a HD remake of 3D Land.
Stop with the HD. Right, okay, I'm done with that shit.
No,
Can we not-
I'm not saying they should. I'm just
I
saying
know,
I'm
I know.
surprised they haven't.
Yeah, no,
Oh,
you're
you know
right.
they're going to, aren't they? It's going to happen. It's,
Yeah, but they had like a whole bunch of levels that was based on the 3D stuff, though, wasn't it?
That's true. But then they also released a 3DS that didn't do 3D. So.
Very good point. Yeah, no, I'm surprised. I hate all this remake shit and Donkey Kong. Mario versus Donkey Kong is about as low at the barrel as you can get for Nintendo.
there
Oh,
has
there's
there
a
has
little-
been some breaking news actually,
Yes.
which is that there is a Nintendo Direct definitely coming. Partner showcase which is happening on the 21st, which is what day is that?
Wednesday.
That's
The day this
Wednesday. So
comes
when
out.
when this comes out at 2:00 in the afternoon, and
We
apparently
will
there's
not
going to be
streaming it.
there's going to be 25 minutes of info focused on Switch games coming in the first half of 2024 from our publishing and development partners.
Yeah, these ones are always
Also-
shit.
Pentiment and Hi-Fi Rush.
Yeah.
These ones are
I
always
bet
shit.
you. I bet you they will.
Oh yeah, it could be.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you reckon we'll see Sea of Thieves on there? Or do you reckon it's just not possible?
On the Switch, I don't know if
Yeah.
it's not going to look good.
But it comes, I know, but
Get
it
it
works on
running.
the Xbox One.
Very, very powerful console, James. I don't know what you mean by that.
if you were looking to get a new Nintendo game for your Nintendo Switch, save for the Princess Peach game. Like that looks way better than this is.
When's it out?
Next month, I think. Is it March?
What was it?
I think it's March. Could be wrong. But it looks decent. But unfortunately, I can't play it because it is a girls' game, so I'm not
that's
allowed
true,
to.
Yeah.
That's a
Yeah,
shame.
I was looking forward to it. I thought, wow, the trailers look really good, and then, Harry went, well, that is a girls' game, Dad, and I went, okay, yeah, I can't play it then, can I?
That is
So
a real shame, that is.
it's just the way it goes. It's
Yeah.
You can't
just-
challenge these things. It's
No,
just-
you shouldn't challenge these things.
There's a lot of gatekeeping and
No,
unfortunately
and
it's
also privatise the NHS. Hey, Matt.
yeah, we said that.
Like, I mean, that's all we've been playing, really, other than Sean's got a couple more. And I saw you playing. Can we start with Microsoft Flight Simulator? Only
Absolutely.
because I saw you playing it the other night.
Is
and
no
I
one
was
talking
like,
about Helldivers?
Well, I haven't. Oh no, I have gone back to it. Yeah, I'm still playing Helldivers.
I thought
I'm still playing it. I was going to reserve further comment for like
Yeah.
when the game's actually working.
I didn't have
Oh,
much
right.
to say about it. I'm surprised. So Helldivers kind of exploded on social media at the moment.
Mhm.
Like I'm seeing it everywhere. I didn't know, and this again,
And on
this is
Steam.
just how stupid I am, right? I didn't know that this was a whole community event style game. I didn't know this was Nobby Nobby Boy.
Yeah. There's the sort of galaxy map and things happen, and the players have to sort of respond to it and fight back in certain territories and stuff. And
That's amazing.
it's
We-
quite cool.
We had a pretty cool mission the other day where we had to find 2 chargers. So you head off into the woods. We didn't know what a charger was. Turns out it's this huge, horrible bug. It took us about, only about 5 minutes to take down the first charger. But then when we got into the place with the second one, we noticed it was caught on scenery. So we just we chucked like one of those like sort of mortar things down on it, and it exploded straight away. It was one of the most satisfying things I've ever done in a video game, to be honest with you.
I'm
yeah.
enjoying all the content from the videos of PlayStation owners desperate for Xbox players to join the fight and to help them against the bugs.
I mean,
It's
I
funny.
can't wait to play more of it. I wish, Matt, that you didn't carry on with your snowboarding, and actually we could have had you back on Helldivers a little bit quicker.
Yeah.
When do you reckon you're back in action? When you're back on the video games?
Don't know. Week
Be a
or
while,
so.
right?
Okay.
Depends if I have the
Week or
operation,
so.
what I can do after that.
Right. Okay.
James, are you not interested?
I'm interested, yeah, but how much is it? I just don't feel like
That's 30 quid. I think.
35 quid.
30
isn't it?
quid? Yeah.
Yeah,
5.
it's like a really co-op experience, isn't it? And I've
It
got
is, yeah,
friends.
yeah.
so-
You crew, haven't you?
Right.
Right.
You
Yeah,
can
but
play
they-
it with strangers. It's fine.
Okay.
It's not as funny.
What
but
was the last game you spent 35 quid on?
Yeah, it was probably
Mario
versus-
versus
Mario
Donkey Kong.
versus
Yeah,
Donkey
Donkey
Kong.
Kong.
One
That's
of the
true.
shittest games to come out this year. So maybe you can spend a little bit of money on this and play with your bros.
Mm,
About that.
yeah, maybe.
Okay. Microsoft Flight Simulator. I saw you playing this the other night, Sean, and I was thinking, fuck me, I want to play Microsoft Flight Simulator
Well,
again.
this is the thing, right?
So good.
The reason I reinstalled it is because they've added the free Dune DLC.
Oh, yes.
This means you get to fly the ornithopter, which
Excited for that movie.
those of you who are sad and haven't seen the films or read the books, it's basically like a big dragonfly. It's kind
Yeah.
of that you pilot. It's got like these wings that all sort of vibrate in it. So they've added that to Flight Simulator, and they've added a bit of Arrakis, which is the desert planet from
Did
Dune.
you fly that thing over your house?
Well, yes.
Straight away,
This
yeah.
is it, right?
Of course you
So I
did.
did about
Buzzing
half an
over.
hour doing like the training missions on Arrakis. I was like, oh man, this is cool as fuck. I love this. And then there's like some other challenges, but then there's like a rescue mission. So this dust storm is coming in and someone's crashed, and you got to like fly over, like land, rescue them, and then like fly through this canyon. So it's fucking impossible. It's absolutely nails.
Really?
I couldn't. So I had like 2 goes. I was like, forget this. This is awful. And then did a little tour of the Amalfi Coast in the ornithopter, and then was like, because of the way it handles, because it's kind of a helicopter but kind of a plane. It's actually quite good for doing a bit of sightseeing, because you can kind of you can
Hover
fly
a
around at
bit.
decent speed and then
Aye.
basically sort of stop for a second and then carry on. Yeah, Flight Sim is still unbelievable. Like, what an achievement that game is, even though
How
it's
you
barely a
playing it?
game
You
to most
installing it
people.
or clouding it?
I've installed it, yeah.
Right.
Which, yeah, basically had to leave the Xbox on overnight to install all the
Yeah,
extra.
it's still a really bad
content.
process, isn't it? As
Yeah.
well, especially when you have to add the location packs in and stuff.
Yep.
Um,
So yeah, been back on that. It's been quite
I'm going to wait till
nice.
it's on Switch.
Cloud
I
version, maybe.
love that game so much, and I was just thinking the other day, I was watching videos of people flying like Boeing 747s on the shortest. What is it? It's like this is the shortest runway in Scotland. I'm going to see if I can land on it. Or this is the shortest runway in such and such. I'm going to see if I can take off from it and stuff like that. I loved all that. And I was just like, oh yeah, I used to do stupid shit like that all the time. Or the saddest thing I did was, yeah, have a look at this video game. Like, we'd have people that didn't play video games come over. Oh, look at this video game. Where's your house? Here, look, I'm just going to fly over it. But every time they were like, holy shit. And, well, that was probably what was going on in my head, actually. And they were sitting there going, let's get out of
Yeah,
it.
it's great, Dave, yeah.
You're like,
I'm really
"Whoa,
sorry.
holy
The
shit,
dog's
dude."
the dog's shouting at me. Can we just have 2 minutes so I can let him out for
Yeah.
this? Cheers. Sorry.
Go for it.
I cannot believe you buckled. I so thought, James. I so thought that you
But I loved it, or
no, that you were gonna do the right thing and slag it off.
no, I'm not doing that. It's I won't go that far.
Well, I'm not doing the right thing. That's a fucking piece of shit. How angry are you, Matt? What's going on?
It's 1-1. Oh, it was 1-1.
Well, yeah, I looked over and see
Pathetic.
someone said you're 1-0 up, and then I looked back, it's 1-1. I'm like, yeah.
I think Palace are the
about that.
team that has conceded the most goals after the 80th minute as well in the Premier League. We are the worst.
You're 5 points clear of Luton, though.
Yeah.
Oh, they got a game in hand, so you could be.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, but you'll be 5 points clear of Everton. Yeah, we're 1 point above relegation, so I wouldn't worry too much.
I mean, we're only lucky really because it looks like Burnley and Sheffield United are down, but it's just been a depressing season. You know, what do you imagine now?
Yeah,
That's one thing.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
What's happened to your season? Why has it gone so wrong?
Because we got rid of an experienced manager and
Oh yeah, you got the
replaced
young
him
one.
with a fucking Chelsea boy who's never managed a football team in his life. I cannot believe we went on Saturday. I cannot believe he wasn't sacked off that game. Absolute shit. We are so shit. We're going back to League One. Oh, fuck me.
I mean,
Let's see who's in
I mean,
League
no,
One.
surely it's not too late to make a decision now. But who would come in?
Anyone.
You should get Beale in, Michael Beale from Sunderland.
No.
So
apart from that.
the video on the weekend where he just
Apart from
ignored
that.
his player coming off.
Yeah, that's fucking terrible.
Yeah, I mean, no wonder he's gone, frankly.
So we could be playing teams like Charlton are
Derby.
probably going down. Shrewsbury Town, Burton Albion, Wycombe Wanderers, Exeter City, Leyton Orient. Oh fuck me, League One sucks. Please don't get up. Please don't go back there. Right,
Hello, sorry about
Millwall versus Wrexham next season. I nearly sung the fucking Sunderland song then. On a river way.
Oh, season 3's out, isn't it? I need to watch
Yeah,
that.
there's only like 3 episodes though, right? Is that?
So far, or is that a lot?
I think that was it, but I'm not sure.
What? The whole series is 3 episodes?
Yeah.
All right. What was Sam?
What a boot.
What did you say? You made a joke, Matt. Right when Sean said I've got.
Well, I'm not sure, did I?
Did.
Make so many, Dave. I don't remember
What did
what
we
I
say?
said.
What did we were talking about Flight Simulator? Oh, and then we were talking about people over my house and wishing they would leave.
Oh yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Yeah, actually thinking about it, maybe they weren't actually doing that, and they were just like sort of wishing they could
Yeah,
go
they
home.
actually silently just like walked away. You're like, oh yeah, it is wicked, guys.
And it turns out that Joe said no one was over. I don't know why you keep doing this, David.
David, there was
the pad
there was
down.
no one. You were talking to no one about flight
It's
sim.
just like saying to you, like, can you stop doing that because they just won't come over anymore. He's doing that fucking flight simulator thing.
What else have you been playing, Sean?
that. I've been playing Tingus Goose.
You what?
Okay, this is the most Sean Bell thing.
Yeah,
I've
this
ever
has
heard
to
in
be
my
made
life.
up.
Tingus Goose.
This is
It's
an
social
idle,
commentary about
idle mobile game
Okay.
where there's there's 2 people. One's like lying down on like a hospital bed, another person stood next to them, and the person on the hospital bed is like pregnant, right? And then a goose emerges from like the center of their abdomen and starts growing upwards, and you spend money to water the goose to make it grow. And then
Why
as
are you
it
doing this with your
and
time?
then as it grows, it starts like spitting out babies from the top. And then they fall down. And then on the goose's neck, there's like plants start growing out. But they're like the babies bounce off them, and then you get money when the babies bounce off the plants.
Like, you are describing a game like Charlie would describe a game now at this point. Like, this is weird.
And then
Describing a
that gets you
dream.
more money, which lets you water the goose more. And then when you water the goose and he gets to a certain height, there's another goose in the sky that's like pointing downwards, which vomits its beak into the bottom goose.
Oh, it's
and
the
then
beak.
And then that allows the bottom goose to become a tree. And then you've completed the level, and then you can move on to the next one.
Okay.
It's
don't
free
need
to
it,
play
John,
on your phone. It's it's great because it's got all the grubbiest like free to play stuff you can imagine, but just because it's weird as fuck and quite funny, I'm just like, yeah, I'm alright with it. I don't really mind.
Downloading it now.
Good.
I'll have a
It's
look at
great.
that.
It's good stuff.
Would Harry like it? I might download it on his phone.
Well,
again.
it's interesting because Isaac likes it, but it's it's all drawn in such like an innocent way. But if it wasn't, it would be like, oh, this is like full on like body horror stuff. This is horrific. But because
Right.
it's so like Isaac's like, yeah, it's sort of a bit freaky, but it's quite funny. So I'm like, yeah, that's about right. The skill of
Where
it
did
is.
you even hear about this, please?
I think it was like an Instagram advert, and I was like, this can't be real.
Sean's
Oh,
on
this
some,
would
like,
be one of those
pervert
like
discords.
this
It's
would be like you click on it and it's like, oh, it's a fake game. It's yeah.
Or worse still, you see a person of a guy going, huh, I'm going to be
I can't
checking
believe
out
people say
fake
this is a fake
games.
game. I'm playing it. No,
I'm
no,
playing it. It's not a fake game. It's a great game. Click on the link below.
That'll
Yeah,
be me. I'll be
Tingus
doing
Goose.
those ads for this game. And
They're
then millions
not,
of
are
other
they?
people will be like, who the fuck is that?
Holy
I've never seen that guy before.
Oh,
But yeah,
mate.
the skill of it is basically arranging the plants on the goose's neck to make the babies bounce in like the most efficient way to get the most money out of them before they land at the bottom. And that's where the sort of strategy comes into it. But also it's just weird and kind of funny.
Okay, I will. I'll check it out.
Yeah, I'm watching
The
footage. This
podcast.
game looks ridiculous.
It
I'll
is
watch the
ridiculous. You can pay like 12 quid to permanently get rid of all the ads, and I'm considering it.
12 quid.
£12.
That's a lot, isn't it? People
But
kicked off at Mario Run being 8 quid for that.
Uh,
12 quid.
This is a better game though. So,
have you heard of a game called Kinito Pet?
no.
This is a game that's kind of blown up recently, and
Yeah.
it's one of those games that if I tell you about it, it kind of ruins it and spoils it.
Okay.
So I don't want
it
to.
on
But
Android?
also, no, it's a PC game.
Ah.
I kind of want you to stream it, but also there's a bit in it that you should definitely not stream. So I
Okay.
can't. People have been streaming it, and it. Okay, maybe. Well, there's a bit. Apparently, there's a bit in it where your address just like flashes up on the screen.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
I listen. If you listen to this, go search. What's it called? Kinito Pet.
Kinito Pet.
KNITOPET. And watch people playing it because I'm kind of fascinated with watching people play this game because it's so fucking weird. And also, it might be a virus that destroys your PC. But I think
Yeah, I've
that's a
just
gag.
googled it, and there's like it shows some like preview YouTube videos, and the top one in caps, the title is "This game hacked me and doxed my location."
Yeah.
Cool. Yeah, probably
so-
not going to stream that one.
This game hacked my
Psychologist
PC and turned
on-
on my lights. What?
Yeah. So apparently it doesn't like at one point it says, "Can I see what you look like?" And if you click yes, it like just your picture appears on the fucking screen and shit. It's like really odd. It's a little bit like pineapple pizza on pizza. It's like one of those, but at least like
Much more
that one
disturbing.
is quite a silly, stupid game that you don't have to worry about. Whereas this sounds genuinely horrific. I kind of want James to play it. Maybe you should play it, but
Oh,
James hasn't
another
got a
one.
PC.
Another title was here says this game found where I live and broke my computer. This game sounds amazing.
I mean, all I've seen is people playing this, and I can't work out what's going on. But there you go. That's my segment, Dave's Viral Games. Please subscribe to the Patreon. Is that it for what we've been playing?
I think so, yeah.
Let's get some questions then from you, our listeners.
If you want to send us a question, go to tcgs.co/dear TCGS. Steve Lee says, "Hi gents, relatively new listener, although joined Patreon after 2 episodes and you're now my favourite podcast by a mile." I really like Steve Lee. I don't know about
That's
Yeah,
you.
Steve
dedication
Lee's
after
one
2
point.
episodes.
Sound as
Bang,
fuck.
straight into Patreon. Lovely old job.
Yeah.
It says, as a
Should've been
50-plus-year-old father of 2 and having a demanding job, time is valuable, and hearing you discuss the average time needed to complete a game really helps to influence my gaming decisions. You should check out Mario vs. Donkey Kong.
When I read this, I went, yeah, I wonder if other gaming podcasts do that as much as we do. Like when a new game, how long does it take? I'm like,
Yeah,
that's like
do I have to?
It's valuable information. You know,
when we go, oh, it's like 10 hours. Oh, God, That's great.
Lovely old job. How long to beat? Okay, good. I mean,
10
take
hours.
me a
You
couple
don't
of
feel
weeks.
ripped off, but also you don't want to. Yeah.
It says, as after your thoughts on the potential quest to complete the 700 odd hours needed to complete the TCGS podcast backlog, I've dipped into a couple of recent episodes, including the one with the legend Ian Lee, but the lethal combination of OCD and FOMO is pushing me to complete the set. Any advice?
Oh, just don't. Some of
I
the
was gonna
early
say do it.
episodes. No, some of the early episodes are just rough to go back to.
yeah,
No,
but
from time to time, I think about like going back and listening to like the early ones because I've never listened to them ever, not even when we first
or
did
the
them.
recent ones.
And I'm just a bit scared to see what they sound like.
I'd
Yeah,
say
there's probably-
the show really started finding its current form when Sean came back from paternity leave,
Yeah.
I think. But that was a good what? Shit, that would
Probably
be
about
what?
half the run, right?
5 years ago now. 4, 5
I will
years
say,
ago?
if you want to listen to old ones, yeah, do the Gotti shows, do the E3 shows. I think a lot of the memes and in jokes and whatnot came from them, and then maybe I don't know. There's a lot to get through in there, but at least do them, I reckon.
Someone in the chat, Pubis in the chat said listen on 2 times speed. I hate that idea that people do that. Like I hate, like it actually annoys me.
The worst thing about that is it's like it just totally destroys any sort of like comic timing or anything, you know, like with a lot of stuff. And it's-
Timing.
Yeah.
It's it absolutely that got Sean. That got Sean. Yeah, but the pandemic years, I remember thinking during the pandemic years, God, life is just the worst, and this is scary, and there's all this
Well, no,
horrible
Matt was loving
news
it.
and
It
all
was
this.
exciting, wasn't it?
Yeah.
But the show's doing really well. Like, I'm really feeling the pod at the moment. I'm sorry, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, like you said you're a Patreon subscriber. There's obviously tons of bonus. You know, how many years of bonus shows are there now?
3?
3? Yeah, there's
At
a
least.
lot of good things on that stuff. But no, yeah, I would just do the main ones. Just do
That's probably more than
E3s,
3.
Gottis. Yeah.
Holy fuck! Right.
Holy fuck. Or
Maria
alternatively,
Mendieta.
Steve, just do the lot.
Yeah. Let's get it done.
What else you got going on? Just do that, innit?
Yeah.
Is the busy
Apart from
50
the
plus
father of two and the
two?
demanding job, I'm saying,
I
you know,
cannot
Get a
believe
less
you just
demanding
asked
job.
what father of 2 is doing. Like what? Honestly, I'm tired all the time, all the fucking time. Go on.
Maria Mendieta says, Dear TCGS Colossus with a Shadow, hopping between Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom, I noticed that Link has a better throw animation. Link no longer launches items overhead like an Olympic weightlifter, but rather pitches them like those characters in MLB The Show. In your expert view, to which part of the Zelda canon do we attribute this change in upper body strength? Keep up the brilliant work. Sincerely, Maria.
Lost his
We've got different
virginity,
arm,
didn't
hasn't he?
Lost his virginity.
I'd
Wow.
reckon.
Yeah,
With who?
just one of the dragons and that.
Okay.
I mean, you're
You're
making
right,
a lot of
Dave.
sense. You're making a lot of sense there.
It's got a different arm. He's got his thingy arm.
One,
Tears
of
of
the,
the
one
Kingdom.
of the fairies of that.
Yeah.
Not the
Yeah, I
little
wouldn't
ones
mind.
in the bottle, the ones in the.
Yeah,
those
yeah,
ones.
Those
yeah.
massive ones.
Yeah. That was definitely like an awakening for a lot of people, wasn't it?
Was it?
I'm straight.
Yeah, do you not
What, at
think?
the age of when you like in your mid-30s when that game come out?
Yeah, people not realizing they had like a giantess thing,
Okay.
and then being
I
like,
think,
"Oh shit!
I think you
Can't wait to
might
get
be
the
a bit
maximum
sort
upgrade on this piece of armor."
I had
What
that
a
with Dark
cutscene.
Souls. I no, actually, I had that with that episode of Futurama. You know what I'm talking about.
No, I don't. I'm not. Never been a Futurama guy for some reason.
You're fucking kidding me.
No.
I tried Futurama. Have you tried Futurama with Asher yet?
No,
Trips.
I've never watched it either. It's here.
Holy fuck! You've never seen the dog episode of Futurama?
Nope.
Nope.
Oh, James, how could you? You've got to see the dog episode. You've got to see
Oh, he's
dog
gone.
episode.
Well done. You've murdered James again. You didn't even need to see the show.
You've got to see the dog episode of Futurama. It's like so good. Yeah, it's tough because I think there are more adult themes in Futurama. I tried Harry on Futurama, and he's a massive Simpsons fan. He loves the Simpsons, right? So the moment he saw Futurama, he's like, "This was trying to be the Simpsons." And no matter how much I had to explain to him, "No, you don't understand." He's like, "Nah, it's not the Simpsons, so it doesn't." Nah, it's trying too hard to be the Simpsons. I'm like, right, okay, fine. I can't. I'm going to leave that a little bit. James, you would love Futurama. You kidding me?
I probably would. Yeah,
Holy
but I've never watched it.
shit! What?
I've never, as I said, I've never watched it. So
Okay.
I probably should.
Future calls.
I was going to say, Futurama calls us. Yeah.
All right, James. Look, Matt just looked down angry then because he's like, "Oh, the next one's me." Well, actually, Matt, this is where we announced that we've been recording Futurama calls for
Yeah,
the last
probably.
year.
Won't be the first time with it, Sean.
Won't be the last. Okay, next.
And that's
next
why
question.
Link's throw changed. Santa Banter. Santa
Man,
Banter
I've
says,
got-
"Evening team. I need advice from a Yakuza expert, so I thought
What?
I'd reach out
So
to
hold
Doc
on. Sorry. What's up, James?
I've got a massive headache now from that coughing. It's
from the oxygen
Yeah.
deprivation."
Yeah,
You're
I don't
right.
know what we could do about that. You just blurting that out during the show. I don't know how that.
No, I'm just saying I've got a massive headache.
Okay,
He's,
right.
he's given up
Do you
on the
wanna go?
microphone. So it's
Yeah, do you want to shoot off early?
nearly
Oh,
done.
get
It's
on
only
with
been going an hour and 45. It's a
Get
short
on
show.
with it.
Just get on
Do you
with it,
remember the 2 weeks where he didn't lean back away from the microphone?
That
Do you
was
remember
such a
great,
great
wasn't it?
time,
Okay,
wasn't
go on,
it?
go on,
Yeah.
then get on with it.
That
go
was
on.
brilliant. That was. That was. Yeah, that was.
But I only reserved that for the end of the show. It's a little treat doing that.
Oh,
Yeah,
Santa Banter.
We're at hour and 45 minutes. James, what Osborne puzzle books don't you remember, James?
Go on, sorry, Sean.
Evening team, I need advice from a Yakuza expert, so I thought I'd reach out to Dr. Farley for some of his knowledge. I've decided to take on the challenge of playing all the Yakuza and Judgment games, so I've found online the order to play Yakuza in, but nowhere mentions the 2 Judgment games. Where should these drop into my list? For reference, I have the order as Yakuza 0, Kiwami, Kiwami 2, 3 to 6, Like a Dragon, Man Who Erased His Name, Infinite Wealth, and finally Ishin.
Fucking
Although
that's
no
too
doubt by the
much.
time I've done these, there'll be about 3 more released. But just to do Judgment as well, where would these go in the list? Thanks, Santa Banter. P.S. I started 0 over the weekend, and the first side mission was to help a schoolgirl in stopping the sale of worn underwear. What the fuck? Be helping her to stop,
Yeah.
right? I think that's the key thing there. I think it's fine. James,
mean-
what's your... Go on.
I'd go with. I mean, I played the first Judgment after I played 6 of the Yakuza games,
Mhm.
and for the second one, I don't know because I've not actually played that one yet. I own it, but I've not played it. But probably after, maybe after. No, actually after Ishin, I play Ishin, and then I play, Judgment
Would you
2.
play Ishin?
Yeah, I would, but only
Okay.
much later on. You know,
Yeah.
it's.
Because I mean, I had to go when they released it, when it came out on Game Pass, and I couldn't get into it.
So again, it's another one I've got, but I haven't played yet.
Mm,
Because the other one I keep meaning to go back to one day is the Fist of the North Star game they made.
Oh,
Because
yeah.
that's supposed to be very good. But yeah, I started it and never didn't get very far.
Just go back to that, James, when they stopped releasing Yakuza games, aka
Oh.
never.
Never, yeah. It's yeah. But yeah, the latest one seems to have done very, very
Yeah,
well.
loads of people talking about Infinite Wealth. Like,
yeah, have
yeah.
you not played it yet, James?
No, again, own it. I haven't played it yet. It's
Fair
because I'm playing Alan Wake 2, you know, because somebody told me I had to.
Game of the year.
And,
Yeah.
yeah.
No,
it's
I
a very
do- I do
good game.
plan
Shut the
on-
fuck up.
That'll
I
look
do
back
plan
on as
on,
one of the
on
worst
getting Infinite
decisions
Wealth.
we've ever made.
What? I'll say it again.
Go on.
Beat you.
Ryan Cobain. Hello, lads. Thanks for all the content, etc., etc. Quick question. If you could bring one console back from the console graveyard and release it to the masses again, knowing how it was received by the public, which console would you choose, and would you make any changes to it? Treat this as any console will already have 4K, 60 FPS, gubbins, etc., just to remove that from the easy win column.
This is easy. The Atari Jaguar.
Really?
Nah, probably not.
I was going to say Series X.
Philips CDI. That's just
Oh, this is tough.
little
So
joke.
what are the what's the criteria? So you want to release what to explain that it was actually good, or what's the
I guess like you
motivation
thought it was
here?
underrated at the time.
Well, Sega Saturn.
Yeah, Saturn, 100% Saturn.
Sega Saturn's the answer.
Mm.
You don't seem convinced, but the answer is Sega Saturn.
Okay.
The idea of Christmas Nights into Dreams still makes me vomit.
Yeah, fair
Like,
play.
do you know how excited I was about that shit when it come out on that magazine, and then I played it and I was like, "Fucking hell, what
Do you
is
know-
going on in the
Yeah,
world?"
man.
See, I'd probably go with the Dreamcast, but I would
it's the
wait. No,
shitter
can you
version
just
of the
shut
Saturn.
up? Just shut up, okay? And then
Shit version of
I'll
Saturn.
tell you what I would do is shut up. What I would do is the changes I'd make is I'd give it a DVD drive, obviously, from that, for that era, and I'd change the controller, give it a
Yeah,
better.
God,
Yeah.
the controller. Fucking
Yeah.
There's
hell.
some better games.
Yeah.
Shut up.
I don't know. I don't know if I have an answer for this because I feel like it's been really interesting. I don't know if you've seen Matt. You'll be aware, but there's a 3DS emulator for the Quest. now.
Yes.
I've had to go with it. Performance is still a bit all over the shop. But yeah, it's kind of amazing what people are doing with it because there's people like playing Mario Kart 7 in like first person mode basically. And just so they've modded it so it's like a full 360-degree field of view. Plus also it's like, oh yeah, this might be the only way you're gonna play 3DS stuff with a 3D display and with the bottom display as well, because what other piece of hardware does that, right? Because so basically you're playing it with like the display sort of floating in front of you. I don't know where I'm going with this. I just because that piece of hardware is so specific, it's difficult. It's not difficult to emulate, but it's difficult to get the experience of it. So yeah, I'll have a new 3DS, even though it wasn't even that long since they stopped making them.
Yeah, that console was great, wasn't it? But
It was really.
I don't think I don't know. There's just something that still sticks with me about the Saturn, and I go, actually the games on it were fucking great. It just was
Were
up
they,
against
though?
one of the best
Like
consoles
what?
of all time. Well, you had all the Virtua Cop, Virtua Fighter, Sega
Mm.
Rally. You had Nights into Dreams. There were others.
International Victory Goal.
You've already listed less good games than the Dreamcast had. So
Deep
I don't know.
Fear, you had the Shining Force trilogy, Marvel vs. Capcom,
Yeah, Tomb Raider,
Tomb Raider.
Sega Worldwide Soccer.
Yeah, boy. Sleep Soap Sliders, that
I
was
think
an
we
amazing
have
snowboarding
actually
game.
gone past the games that the Dreamcast had, right?
So, some of them are multi-format.
Yeah. Maybe we just mash them. Wait, so hold on. So if that was up against each other, we had to vote. Right, what was the better console? Two of us would go Dreamcast, and two of us would go Saturn.
See, I don't know because my Saturn knowledge isn't that great,
Right.
and I had no exposure to it at the time, so I've no nostalgia for it either.
See, neither do I, because it was like I remember when it was first announced, and it was just ridiculously expensive, and yeah, I didn't.
You could afford it.
Well, I couldn't, otherwise I would have bought one.
Fighting Vipers.
Yeah,
Vipers.
Fighters Mega Mix.
Fighters
Still got that
Mega
somewhere in
Mix.
this house.
Fight Vipers was good. I played that recently. Why did I play that recently? That was on something.
Man, there were so many good games on the Dreamcast. Yeah, it's like you have no idea at all. It's just,
But I think with the Dreamcast, I think there's an issue with
Yakuza. It's in Yakuza. That's right. No, I played it on Judgment. It was in Judgment. I played Fighting Vipers and Judgment, and I went, holy shit! No, this is good because it is not like Virtua Fighter. It's doing something different. Fair play. Sorry, what were you saying, Sean? I cut you
I've
off.
forgotten. It probably wasn't. No, that's it. I was going to say. I think Dreamcast games probably almost suffer more because they're more recognizable. They're closer to what we play now, but they're a worse version of it. Whereas Saturn stuff is old enough that it's like, no, this is a different category. This is fine.
Athlete Kings, Winter Heat.
Athlete Kings.
They were fucking
Holy
great as
shit!
well.
Someone's googled Saturn games.
No, I didn't know my hands are here. I just remember old games. Oh yeah, Simon told us in the chat a lot of the Shining Force games weren't released outside Japan. Well, Shining Wisdom was, and the first two parts of Shining Force 3 were. I don't think the third one was.
Athlete Kings on the Saturn, man. That was like all time.
Yeah, hammered that.
Yeah, so they're like, oh man. Fuck, I love that. I want a Sega Saturn again.
Yeah, as Shai says in chat, Panzer Dragoon
Can you get a
Saga.
modded Sega? Can you get a modded Sega Saturn with HDMI and all the games on it?
You
Oh,
must
I
be
don't
able to.
know.
You
You
must be able
can.
to.
There is. I think there
That's
is.
what I'm
Is there an
looking
EverDrive for the Saturn? I think there is, isn't there?
What's an EverDrive?
You know, where you can play lots of games on it.
No, I don't know what that is.
Legal
Sounds
backups
illegal to me,
of the
James.
games. Yeah.
Is that
It's-
No, I used to have a Saturn that was modded, like a region mod on it, but I never really used it, and then I think I just sold it to someone else. So there you go, good story.
Great story.
Um,
Got any more like
actually-
that, Sean?
Actually, I shouldn't tell you this because you're
What?
just going to take the piss.
You started
Oh,
now.
of course I'm going to take the piss.
I traded to save the Saturn for a BB gun.
Of course you did.
Not joking. Seriously.
More Arsenal.
Wait, hold on, I didn't know you had a Sega Saturn. So what games did you play on that bad boy?
my god.
No, I only had it very briefly because I bought it
Because then
second
you
hand.
needed firearms.
Yeah.
No, I bought it.
Did you trade up? Did you have you had a paperclip and you got a Sega Saturn for that, and then Sega Saturn to BB gun?
I bought it. I bought it in like cash converters for very little money. I think it was only like 30 quid or something. And then I
And you in the car
quickly
park,
for a-
and some guy's like, "Is that Saturn? Do you want this
And then-
gun?" I was like, "Yeah, go on."
and then somebody I was working with at the time in the co-op.
Needed
He
a
was
gun.
just like, it's just like, I've got this
Co-op.
BB gun. Do you want it? And I was like, well, I haven't got any money. I was
No
like, do you want
cash.
this Saturn?
I got this
so,
Saturn.
so we did a trade.
He got a great, or they got a great deal.
Oh my god.
What was it? It's a handgun.
Yeah,
Like that would be worth like hardly anything. They got a Saturn.
yeah. But that shows you how I valued the Saturn at the time.
No one needs to
Which shows how you value BB guns, mate.
Yeah.
Priceless.
Yeah, still got it somewhere.
Sai/Ben says, good news, TCGS has just landed a huge sponsor in the form of Walker's Crisps.
Shit.
Yeah.
To
Why are we
promote
just
the
finding out now?
podcast, to promote the podcast, Walkers are doing a TCGS. Are doing TCGS flavored packs, a different one representing each member of the podcast. But what are the flavors, and are there any other crisp gimmicks they'd need? Square like the logo, for example.
James would be cheese.
Cheese flavored crisps.
Yeah,
Yeah,
could I have
that's
a
Just
kind
no
of
pack
onion.
of cheese and
Just
no,
cheese,
just cheese,
thank you.
just cheese.
just cheese.
What do you mean? Oh, thanks. You really like cheese?
Actually, yeah, it's true. I do really like
Yeah,
cheese.
yeah, yeah.
That's the thing.
Yeah, but that's not very exotic, though, is it? Like, oh, we're doing this cheese. Like,
Sorry, James isn't very exotic, Matt. I hate to break this to you. He's not,
yeah.
would you
How
describe
can we-
James
Yeah,
as exotic?
Could James just like advertise themselves as pepperoni, but then you taste it and it's like this is just peppers. This is no, no sausage
Fucking
in
hell
this.
in the chat has suggested Sean Cocktail, which
Absolutely.
is genius. That, I
Nice.
mean, that is chef's kiss. That,
But that's an
yeah,
existing
great.
flavour, right? Don't we need to invent new ones for each of us?
Yeah, that's just a pun.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's it. That's
It's a
true.
very good
Right,
one.
yeah, fucking hell. Like, since I'm a
Fucking hell,
band, fucking
indeed.
hell. Matt would be just all the flavours.
Every flavour. No, what would be great is
Salt,
it would
vinegar,
rotate.
cheese, onion, ready, salted.
So you're saying this would be like a
Chicken.
packet of Revels, but in
chicken
crisp form?
cocktail.
Yeah,
Where it's like every one you pick out is
FOMO
different.
flavour. It's every flavour, so you don't miss out.
FOMO flavour. When you open it up, there's no chip crisp in there. That was kind of, I was trying to link to the fact
Yeah,
that you
it
don't
didn't
play
really-
games. It didn't really
Didn't really
work,
work,
did it?
actually, no.
No, it didn't work. It's just
Yeah,
hurtful.
Cola flavoured crisps. That'd work.
What?
Cola flavoured crisps.
Oh, yours would be sugar.
Yeah,
Sugar crisp. Can I have some sugar crisp?
No, it'd be like those. You remember like Salt and Shake?
Yeah.
Oh,
Just
yeah,
gives you a
yeah.
little
Yeah,
pouch
but it'd
of
be a little
Those little blue
sachet of
packets.
sugar.
yeah.
A little sachet of sugar.
Okay.
Okay.
And David's would be.
So, I mean, come on, he's just ready salted, isn't he? That's.
There's someone that's given you an internet career, James. Do you think I did that with ready salted personality? No.
No, I was
pretty
going
much
to say
didn't.
loudmouth cunt flavour, but that's not a food type, is it?
That's more like it. That's more like it.
Who's had it in this week?
Who is that in this week?
I'll do it.
Yay.
Cunt!
I need to be such a cunt about it.
Fuck off. You. No, that's not.
See, the trouble is, I always want to join in with that, but then I
Well,
always
go on
know that
then.
if I do that, I'm not gonna get. Won't
Just
get
do
bleeped.
it,
That's
James.
what I
We'll-
do.
James
we'll
does it. Be like, oh,
bleep it.
James, come on, don't you make me work
Exactly,
for the
I'm
edit.
not
Come on,
Don't be a
James.
cunt about it.
Come on, James, say cunt.
No, I'm not doing it.
Go on,
I'm
say
not
it.
doing it.
James,
Say
I'm
it.
going to bleep it. It's not
Absolutely,
funny.
I don't.
You've been
trust
given
you
permission
with
by
that.
the editor. Do it.
I have zero trust.
Just
in
say it
any
once.
of you
Closer
to
to the
do
mic.
that.
At
Microphone, say
least
it.
get closer to the
Yeah,
mic.
we need you in
I
the
have
same
zero
room.
trust in any of you doing that. So just
Just
look,
say
just
it
move-
once.
No, it
just
it
move on.
reflects badly on all of us if we don't edit it out. So it's going to get
Yes.
edited out.
Come
No.
on, James, don't be
No,
a cunt.
just look, just. Can we just move on, please?
Stop being a cunt
No.
about it. Just
We can't-
say it.
We can't
I ain't
move
gonna
on
do
until you
it.
say it.
I'm not going to do it. So just
Say it.
move on. No.
Thanks for that,
Think
Luke.
about Jackie Chan. That's the only other
Right,
time
can
I've
we
heard you
stop
use the
saying
word.
this because
That is true, actually, yeah.
it just hit me that people watching this live are just going off
Oh, yeah, damn.
or on
It's-
YouTube.
It's 10 to 11 at night.
I know.
Kids are in bed.
Yeah, but I can say, James, stop being a about it. I mean, you come on, James. Please stop being a
I bet it. That's pretty good.
fucking cunt. Oh,
No, you...
oh, fuck the toilet.
oh, he's gone. He's gone. Look at him. He's proper gone now.
Don't do that,
Yep.
please.
Oh, that was very good. Right, next. James is against survive the night.
We do need a new highlight reel. I reckon this can kick things off.
I'm sweating.
But the problem is, how do we do that now? How does that moment work in the edit? It probably doesn't.
I'm sure we'll find-
Probably doesn't. I
We'll
think
find a
it's
way.
just-
Let's go.
That's just for the live audience. Pietrick says, "Hi lads, love the show every week. Thanks for making my 5k run easier every week." All right, show off.
James, if laughing you is killing you, can you please see a doctor, please?
That's the episode
Sorry, what?
title. Laughing you is
Oh yeah,
killing
why
you.
did I
If
say
laughing
laughing
is
you?
killing you, what?
Why did I say laughing you? If
I don't know, it was good though.
if laughing is killing you, James, you really need to see the doctor about this.
Or get less funny mates,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, that's
You
the
know.
problem, isn't it?
which will not be hard.
Go on, get on with it.
Okay, says last year I started reconnecting with a friend from childhood and we're playing co-op games on and off. We played It Takes Two, We Were Here 1 through 4, A Way Out, Portal 2, and the Past Within. I think I know that. I think we've played all the good co-op games, so I've bought. So I thought Remnant 2 would be a good follow-up after Sean talked about it, but not that good. So we're currently waiting for a sale. With all the hype that Helldivers 2 is getting, should I suggest that we play that, or is it not that great with 2 players, and should we stick with Remnant 2? I would say stick with Remnant 2 just because Helldivers works a lot better when you've got like a team of 4. It's not so good with just the 2 of you. You probably find it quite hard. Because how many are you playing with, Dave?
Remnant 2. Oh, Helldivers.
No, sorry, Helldivers.
It's just me and John at the moment.
Okay. And you
Yeah.
finding it all right?
Well, yeah, I mean, we've only done 3 or 4 missions, and
Okay.
the last one we did with a random, which is not
Right.
fun
Mm.
because they just want to do their own thing, and you're just
Yeah.
like, oh no, you want to be on the team together. But we're convincing friends to buy it at this point, so hopefully, yeah, we'll have a bit of a team together.
Cool. But yeah, if it's just you and a mate, Helldivers would be a bit of a struggle. I mean, you can allow strangers in, but yeah, vibes would be off, I imagine.
Operation Tango, play that.
Yeah,
That's very good.
yeah, really good. I don't know what they're playing on. They don't mention a format, but Escape Room Simulator and Escape Academy as well. Both really good.
We were here forever.
Yeah, he
I
says
said we
they've
were
done,
here 1 through 4. Matt,
Yeah,
so
done all the We Were Here games.
sit back, just let the big boys deal with this.
Sit back.
question.
I'm not going to do what James does.
Yeah. You all right, James?
No, I'm just trying to get this headache under control. It's,
How do you
uh,
do that?
By staying
but-
silent on the podcast.
yeah, basically, yeah. By just trying to, yeah.
It's convenient, isn't
God,
it?
Self-care is important.
We'll crack on. Last question comes from Kurt Lewin. Says, "Hi chaps, do any of you have any interest in trying out Suicide Squad? The
No,
reviews
next
weren't-
question.
The reviews weren't great, but I found myself having a lot of fun with it. I've just finished the campaign, and whilst it did have problems, specifically with repetitiveness, I thought the core combat and traversal mechanics were a lot of fun. Reminded me of Crackdown and Doom 2016 in different ways as to how it plays. I've also found it to be the funniest game I've ever played. If you enjoy the humour of the Guardians of the Galaxy film, it's very much in that vein. I'd recommend it if you go into it not expecting to reach the high watermark set by the Arkham trilogy. I also want to touch upon the coverage the game received. It felt like some of the reporting of the game was quick to stick the boot in. I see some of the launch issues Helldivers 2 has had, yet people seem a lot more forgiving of those compared to Suicide Squad. You could argue that Helldivers is a better game, which may be true, but it seems that people had made their mind up on Suicide Squad before the game was even released. Cheers. I think the first point there, you're right, James.
Yeah.
Fine. I mean, the first point there is that Helldivers is intrinsically a multiplayer game, whereas Suicide Squad, no one wanted them to make a multiplayer game, right? So
No.
it's like, what, James? What?
Check your phone. I've sent a message in there just to try and make him
fine.
laugh even more.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's funny is that Suicide Squad, like John Denton was really adamantly trying to get me to play Suicide Squad, but everything he said about it ever since the first few sessions that he's played it, he was like, oh, actually, I don't know, man. So I think he's not really convinced me to drop £70 on that game.
Yeah. No, I'm not interested. I mean, yeah, like I've heard people saying, like, yeah, it's not like it's really not that bad. It's just not what people wanted from that studio. Whether it's fair or not for people to go, fuck that game as a result, is a whole other debate.
Yeah. There's an interesting chat about it on Remap Radio. I think it's last week or maybe the previous week's show. And yeah, it said there are some redeeming features, but it's all just wrapped in just dull ass, missions that shouldn't have their place, shouldn't be there at all. But it's a shame. It's a shame.
I will say, like, because I said a few times on the show when it had been on, State of Play or whatever. Obviously, it's Suicide Squad subtitle. Kill the Justice League, and I was like, that's bullshit. Though you're not actually going to kill the that fucking does what it says on the tin. Apparently, that is the game.
That's how you progress.
You fucking kill them. So fair dues for seeing that through, I suppose. But yeah, no. Otherwise, it's not fussed, sadly.
Okay, is that it for questions? Well then, let's get to socials. Matt Murray.
Thursday night, Sean is going through old issues of Razzle. That's twitch.tv/. There's no Sean stream on Thursday.
I would genuinely watch that.
That would be yes. There's no Sean stream on Thursday. But
what?
What's that?
Is there any chance you could actually do that, Sean? Because that would be a winner, I think.
Well, I'd have to get a load of old issues of Razzle first.
Just
if you're listening
look
to
under
this,
your bed.
don't hear that as like a challenge.
You can still find them.
Yeah. if everyone's got loads, actually, just DM me and I'll
just
send them on to
find
Sean.
scans and then just sort of,
Yeah, actually, don't do that. That's not entertaining idea. No Sean stream on Thursday because he's busy sourcing Razzle magazines. But Friday night, James is continuing Dark Souls 3. Was last week the first time you played that?
No, it's the second time.
Okay.
But,
you still enjoying it?
Yeah, it was all right. I got annoyed with one of the bosses, but that was just because I was playing badly. But yeah.
I haven't watched your second stream yet. Did you get far?
I beat that boss, and then that was the end of it.
Was that? What was the?
That was when you were there. You were watching, I think, because you were commenting in the chat.
No, that was the first time you played it because that was when you got to the fucking doorway and then backed out again and
Yeah.
Filing shrines shit. Okay, all right. Anything else, Matt?
So they're both on twitch.tv/TCGSco. If you miss them live, search for TCGS on YouTube. You can watch the VODs as well as also Sean's recent RimWorld one on there and some other bits as well. If you've got Amazon Prime and a Twitch account, connect your two accounts and you get something called Twitch Prime Gaming and you get a free sub every single month. So why not go to our channel and give us your free sub? We really, really appreciate it if you do. Thank you to those who've done it tonight and done it through other streams in the week. We're on Patreon, which is patreon.com/TCGS. If you want to support what we're doing over here, we've got a bonus show coming up in the next week or so. Dave's got some plans he's scared to reveal on this show, but some plans for the video show at least. And anything you want to do to support us, go over there and show your love. And the website is tcgs.co for links to our gorgeous Discord community, store, podcast, socials, you name it.
And that's it for this week. Thank you so much for living it. We hope you have a lovely week, and we will catch you next week for some more video gaming chitty chatty. Goodbye, everybody.
Bye.
Goodbye.
Goodbye.